is a handful 5? Because what if it's? I understand, but like, if I'm holding a basketball, but I have to use like this whole thing, technically my hand is full.
The handful would definitely be
freaking
5.
headphones.
Yeah. Thank you for opening the door for him. Now I'm going to play Good Morning 10 times before he gets.
Good morning. Good morning. Good night. Good morning. Good
Yeah,
night.
no, yeah, no,
Good
yeah,
night.
yep, yeah.
Hey,
Good morning.
what you doing?
I forgot my headphones.
Why were you not at the microphone?
I forgot my headphones. I had to run. I was on the horse though. It was quick.
Just because Chris held the door for you, or with your slight build now, you probably wouldn't be able to open that door.
I mean, I'd have got there eventually, man.
It's a heavy door.
It is a heavy door. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in. The Rob Brown radio program is on the air. Spectacular to have you, my dudes, my dudettes. Glad to have you here on a whatever today is. What is it, Thursday?
It's
I
Thursday.
think?
Yeah, it's Thursday. We got Rashad Beard. We got Fight Club.
We sure
Thursday.
do.
Yeah.
We sure do.
That's
got
the only way
Rashad
we
Beard.
know it's Thursday, because of those two things.
That is also not incorrect. It is Thursday. My dudes, my dudettes, my amigos, my amiguettes, and what a show we have lined up for you on Thursday. Finally, it's NBA Finals Game 1 tonight.
Nuh-uh.
Yep.
No, they just postponed it again for like another week, just cause.
For
right?
another week, just cause. No, it is here. It is time. Boston, Dallas, Game 1 this evening. Kristaps Porzingis confirmed yesterday that he will be playing this evening for the Boston Celtics. That's very interesting. Obviously, we've mentioned time and time again.
It's a lot of time.
It is many times, multiple times, several times. We have mentioned the fact that Porzingis is going to have a big role in this series. Porzingis having to go up against the twin towers of Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II is a massive showdown in this one.
I think he's getting way too much credit. Has this guy ever been good enough to be the difference maker?
Porzingis?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been on some real bad teams.
Okay. I mean, you can make that excuse. So he definitely wasn't a difference maker there.
I mean,
and he's coming off of injury.
Excuse versus reason.
And it's the NBA Finals.
Excuses versus reasons. This is a dude that, as a big man, has historically averaged somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 points a game, 8 to 10 boards a game, shoots about an 84% free throw percentage.
So you're going to say that Kristaps Porzingis is the difference for
I am
Boston.
going to say that being on the right team with the right chemistry can make a dude, and the Boston Celtics are the right team for Kristaps Porzingis. You will keep in mind he has been with 3 other teams before this.
Okay, so I'm refreshing my X, and it said Rob Brown, knower of ball, is live. Really?
Yeah.
You really did that?
Yeah, it's been that way for like 2 weeks.
Okay, well, this is the first time I've been alerted to the fact that Rob Brown, knower of ball, is live.
You're supposed to put things on your profile that describe you as a person, you know?
Oh, okay.
And so I did.
But did I need to be alerted that Rob Brown, knower of ball, is live?
I mean, think about it. If you weren't you and you aren't live with Rob Brown, knower of ball, would you not want to know that the ball knower is live? You can go to X and just click on the Rob Brown Show, knower of ball,
Hey, you know what's trending on X right now? Nudie.
Nudie? Did you click it? Anything good?
No, it just went away, but it was there. I saw it was there. It was there. I'm not.
Watched The Acolyte last night?
I did.
What'd you think?
It was all right.
All right?
Yeah. It was all right. I mean, it's
If
not.
it's just all right to Lonzo, it's going to be terrible.
No,
Because whatever I think about a thing, Lonzo always thinks one step above it.
No. I was spoiled going in. So
You were not spoiled.
I was because you get a look on your face when it comes to two things. Politics. All right. There might be another one that I don't know about. Politics and religion. Those two things, you get a certain look on your face. You had that look, and I knew, and we discussed, although very briefly, that it would be political. So of course, right away, I'm looking for that because where otherwise I probably wouldn't have, because Rob spoiled and he broke his rule, his one week rule, and tried to ruin the show for me.
I did not spoil anything. I simply said that I have been told the overtones of the show are a little on the nose.
Listen,
and was I wrong?
I don't care about all that. I do care, but it's a Disney show. It's going to be that. It's going to be, I am not going to be represented. And if I am, I'm going to be, people like me are going to be evil or overlords or the bad guy, which they were, but I don't care. It's a galaxy far, far away. And it must change after 100 years. I don't know.
But my thought would be, for the aforementioned reasons,
that person's green.
If
all the green people got represented.
If Liberob the woke warrior says it's a little on the nose, like, doesn't that say something?
Here's what I would tell you: the story is predictable so far. If you just look at that, but it's still Star Wars. I'm going to be entertained by Star Wars as long as it's not Rogue One, and
the good one,
the worst one, and it's all right. I don't know where I would put it yet. I've only seen 2 episodes as far as in the hierarchy of the Disney Star Wars stuff. Definitely not as good as
Rogue One,
as my favorite. We're talking about just the Disney series. We're not talking about the movies. My favorite Disney,
Andor.
You never even watched all of Andor.
I got like 2 episodes left.
You see, I told you.
But I loved what I've seen.
Obi-Wan was the best.
Obi-Wan was pretty good.
Yes, just for the fight scene with Darth Vader. That's better than anything that they've ever done as far as the Disney series go.
Obi-Wan's pretty good. Sports.
But you should watch it if you're into Star Wars.
I'm going to.
I was talking to everybody else.
Oh, okay.
We know you might get to it like in 3 years.
No,
so.
I will get to it. I wanted to get to it last night, but the Women's College World Series was on last night. Texas, Oklahoma, game 1. OU takes the first with an 8-3 decision because they would not stop hitting softballs out of the yard last night. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the program. So the Women's College World Series was on. So I could not get to it last night. And I'm not going to be able to get to it tonight.
You know, it's hard for you when you don't get home till like 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
No,
right?
yesterday yesterday was great. I did nothing yesterday. So it was really just yesterday was a sports night. I watched.
No, I meant during the day because you I know what time you left, and I know you had stuff to do, but still, I know what time you left. There's a lot of hours before it gets night. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, yesterday. I mean, I left right after the show yesterday, but I left after the show yesterday because yesterday I went up to the Roper Mountain Science Center to go not just check it out, but to go, try to see if I could snag interviews with a couple of the names that were up there. Unfortunately, unsuccessful due to a couple of different reasons. However, I will tell you that
they said, "Who are you?" That was a joke. Everyone knows who Rob Brown is.
No. Don't walk it back now. You for 3 days now, you've been in a mood. 3 days now.
Have I?
Yes. You yourself said that Lorenzo Wrightsell was here on Tuesday. It's now Thursday.
As Wrightsell. Let's get it right.
Either way, unsuccessful with that endeavor. However, I will also tell you that via a conversation or two that was held yesterday, over the next couple of days, we will be joined by a few special guests participating in the BMW Pro-Am this weekend, the first of which is coming up at 7 o'clock this morning when we will be joined by the one, the only Larry the Cable Guy joining us on the telephone today.
Excited about that and also concerned. But,
Why concerned?
whenever there's a comedian on, there's always a chance.
Larry's a clean comedian. He's a family-friendly comedian. Mostly. He's had some bangers. He's had some really funny ones, but we'll see. We'll see where Lonzo's line of demarcation with Larry the Cable Guy is.
I mean, I'm just worried about bad words. That's all.
Oh, that's not.
But I'm worried about that with every guest and the host. So I mean, that's just.
Okay. That's
what
why.
you should
All right,
do.
that's justifiable. That's why you're in a bad mood. Got it.
I'm not in a bad mood.
That's why you're in a bad mood. That's why you're salty.
Okay.
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
Yeah, I'm salty.
Larry the Cable Guy coming up at 7 o'clock this morning. I will also tell you that as of right now, we are lining up a couple of more interviews with some of the other athletes that are there. Fingers crossed. Again, this is kind of interesting.
You didn't try to get Debbie Dunning because
I did not.
Okay.
Well,
right.
let me rephrase that. I have not specifically really asked for anybody outside of the athletes underlined.
Okay. All right.
So
because it's a sports show, but at the same time, we're sports adjacent, as was agreed upon yesterday by Rob only. But that's okay. So we are sports adjacent, and because of that, I mean, you said I'm salty, so now I got to be, because I want you to be right.
I was trying to unsalty you.
No.
I was trying to sweeten you up a little bit.
I was not. I'm smiling. I'm okay. I'm feeling a little bit better this morning. And then you got to come at me and say that I'm salty. So now I am the C.
The what?
The C.
Oh, got it. Because you're salty.
As in,
no, I got it now.
If I said the ocean, it wouldn't have sounded as poetic.
I know ball better than poetry. I'm not a big poetry guy.
You know how I know you know ball? Because I got an alert on my.
It's all over the computer. It's all over. It's on the internet. It must be true. Larry the Cable Guy coming up at 7 o'clock this morning. We are working on David Wells. We are working on Vince Young. We are working on Ryan Leaf. We are working on Matt Hamilton, the curler, the Olympic gold medalist. We're working on Matt Hamilton, as well as a couple of the other athletes and celebrities that are out there. I would like to say, I don't know that he is listening yet. I don't know that he's out there yet. I know he's in town because I know he's getting sent off this morning. But Brian Bumgardner, if you are listening, I'm going to need you to call in at 844-326-3663. And I'm going to need you to call in because while you may not remember from last year when I broadcasted live out at the BMW Pro-Am, last year, you, after we had an interview, you said that if I brought you a brewski to the first tee, that you would hammer down a Miller Lite with me before you got sent off to play your first hole. And Brian Bumgardner, for those of you that don't know Brian Bumgardner, played Kevin Malone in The Office.
Was he salty?
No, he's a real nice guy.
Okay.
Real nice
right.
guy. But last year you said if you will bring a couple of Miller Lights over to the tee box, I will have a brewski. I will hammer down a brewski with you before I get on to the first fairway. And I was like, yeah, great. Now he was teeing off at like 10:07. No, scratch that. We were in the old time slot, 9 to noon. He was teeing off at like 12:07. I got off the air. I went and found a fistful of Miller Lights. I sprinted to the first tee box, Brian, only to find out that you were going off on 10. You had told me the wrong hole. All right. I sprinted carrying 4 Miller Lights over to the first tee, only to find out that you were going off on the 10th, not the first. And so then, because of you, Brian Bumgardner, because of you, I had to sit there on the first tee box and drink 4 Miller Lights by myself. So I'm not saying you owe me a beer. I am saying I need to get you back on the show. We have things to discuss. We got to catch up about this. We got to figure out how we're going to make this right. Kevin Malone.
So he Happy Gilmore'd you.
A little bit.
Wow.
A little bit. Hit me with the 9th at 9. Pretty much. So Brian, or anyone that is Brian adjacent this AM, I'm going to need you on the show. 844-326-3663. All right. Coming up on said radio program. Again, Larry the Cable Guy coming on at 7 o'clock this morning. We will talk about the BMW Pro-Am as well as it's Larry the Cable Guy. Who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Are we calling him or?
No, he's calling us.
Okay, because I was going to have to say, can I speak to Mr. the Cable Guy?
We don't call people. People call us.
Because I don't. I mean, how else to?
May I speak with Mr. the Cable Guy? I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be mad if you just called him Larry. But we'll see. We'll see. Coming up on the show today, we've got a lot to talk about. I really thought that this USC baseball head coaching situation, I really thought that that was going to rest for a couple of days. I really thought that there was going to be a little bit of a hold up, give it a minute, let it breathe, nobody panic, let's see what happens. Darby, how do you feel about that? Do you think there's going to be a little bit of a cooling off period for SC baseball?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Darb, I didn't think so either. I jumped on yesterday to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel, our co-partners. No, our co-parts.
Our co-parts. Wow, they had room for you. That's cool.
No, I didn't. I was listening to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
They
right.
didn't invite me. I don't catch invites on their show anymore. I'm not on their level, you know. That's not true. I love Cole and Diesel. They're amazing people. I could go on anytime I want.
Well, it's because you're trying to compete with Diesel for best beard, and
I
you
can't
just
compete
can't.
with
I
that.
mean, you know, you're letting that thing go
Can't
a
compete
little
with that.
bit, and you just give it up.
That's like competing with Paul Rudd for world's coolest guy. You
Yeah.
can't win that.
Yeah, you cannot win.
Can't win that. And anyway, I was listening to them, and there's a very interesting conversation that is going on about the head coaching position for the South Carolina baseball team. And the more I listened to it, the more that I realized the South Carolina baseball situation might be Ray Tanner's undoing. Honestly, not the firing of Mark Kingston, but the hiring of whoever it is that he elects to put into that position, because boy, howdy, there are two very different mindsets regarding who should get that gig. And old Monty is doing a real good job campaigning for that position right now. But it feels to me about half the fan base is like, if we hire that cat, it's lazy, it's disingenuous, and I'm out, and I don't know where I land on it
Yeah,
yet.
they've been trying to get rid of him for years. You don't get fired because of a baseball hire. It's about football.
I do think that the emphasis on baseball in Columbia is, in my estimation, based on my own primarily anecdotal rationale, the South Carolina baseball fans watching what has happened at Clemson, watching what has happened to their program under Mark Kingston, is kind of ready to be good again. And half of them think Monty is the guy to get him there, and half of them very don't. So I want to talk about that coming up on the show. I want to talk a little bit about last night's Women's College World Series. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Kyrie Irving without playing any audio from him at all. I want to get to the NBA Finals. I want to get to the Stanley Cup. And I want to get to the NFL's Christmas dates, because there's something interesting that is happening with those dates right now, as well as the college football playoffs. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Rob Brown, nowhere a ball pops up my screen. I thought I lost a game. Has that always been like that, or did it just start?
No, I just changed it like a week ago.
I mean, the ability to do that.
No, that's just my. You can change your like, what do you call it? Not profile name, whatever you call it.
Yeah, but it sent me an alert. That's what I'm saying. I got sent an alert that you were on.
Twitter?
Yeah, it popped up on the
I know they made a
screen.
couple of changes.
That's why I was laughing, because it popped up on the screen. It was all blue. Rob Brown, nowhere a ball is live. Anybody else get those kind of alerts? That's interesting. I don't know that I follow anybody else who would be live on X. We'll see.
Jacob, Steven, Michael, what's up, fellas? Good morning. Welcome in. I know it's at Thornblade.
Thornblade is the second day, according to something that he had
they
sent
send half to
before.
one course, half to the other for one day, and then they switch and they switch and they switch.
Dude, I don't know. It's as long as someone shows up to run it, I don't care.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. There is something very interesting happening with the National Football League right now. I was reading an article earlier this morning about the Christmas Day games that will be played this year. They will be on Netflix. And I'm trying to get a read on what is causing a bit of an issue with Netflix and their Christmas Day stuff. Is there going to be this season? Because this year, there is an NFL game, at least one, on every single day of the week with the exception of Tuesday this year. We have Wednesday games with Christmas. We have Thursday night games, obviously. We have a couple of Friday games. We've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's going to be a lot of NFL football on this year. Same number of games in the regular season. Well, same number of games since we've gone to a 17-game season. But they're being spread out all over the place. They are being spread out everywhere. And with the addition of even more streaming platforms, it's getting harder and harder to view. Cody Decker on Bet for the Cycle a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this. And Deck said that he asked one of the producers of his national show, his weekday show, to do the math and find out if you had a subscription to every streaming network required and every either cable or television streaming service required to watch all the NFL this year, playoffs, regular season, preseason, etc. If you were going to watch all of the games, which is going to be over 300 of them when you include the preseason, the postseason, and the Super Bowl itself, how much would it cost you? And Dex said it would cost you this year north of $1,300. Now, that does include if you have, say, YouTube TV, having it every month of the regular season, right? So not just a month, but every month. That would include if you have Amazon Prime, you got to pay the annual membership, which now is like $160. So you got that full amount mixed in there. If you have Peacock, if you have Netflix, if you have, what's the other one they're going to be on? Prime Video. If you have everything and you wanted to watch every single game, preseason, regular season, postseason, and championship, it's something like north of $1,200. And so the question mark is there a spot where a league can spread itself out too thin? Is there a spot that there can be too many landing spots for a league? And the question, I think, has just been reiterated a little bit because apparently, according to some sources within the media industry, Netflix has not yet put out its availability for purchasing advertisements on their Christmas Day games. And part of the reason that they have not yet made advertisement purchases for their Christmas Day games available is because they don't know what to price the commercials at. They don't know what to price the commercials at. The running number that I have read on some of the media insider reports that I get to look through on a regular basis is that Netflix was considering an initial price of $400,000 per 30-second advertisement on Christmas. But apparently, they have not gotten the attention, they have not gotten the demand to be included on those broadcasts that they thought that they would. They thought that there would be this huge sprint by major companies to purchase advertising time on Christmas Day games, but apparently that's not the case. Apparently, companies have been not flocking to Netflix for this. And the thought right now is that they are going to have to reevaluate the pricing structure for television advertisements that they put together and drop that $400K down potentially by as much as half.
Yeah, but when you think of Netflix, you don't think commercials. And maybe these advertisers realize that people go to these, or used to be able to go to these streaming services, so they don't have to watch commercials. And Netflix still has a level where you don't have to see them, right?
Yes. However,
I would argue, matter in sport? Will that work in sports?
Exactly. This is not anything that we have seen on Netflix before. This is not jumping on Netflix to watch the most recent murder documentary, which is what Netflix is for now. This is not scrolling through Netflix and going to find some weird thing that my fiance was watching yesterday starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and his like kid got kidnapped and he was on drugs and he was hallucinating a sarcastic, dry humor monster that followed him around and cracked on him for being a bad dad the whole time. It was really weird.
Sounds amazing.
It's called Eric, if
Okay.
you want to give it a shot.
So you're saying that Benedict Cumberbatch can do a bad movie? Because I don't know that.
I don't know that it was good or bad because it's a 6-episode miniseries, and she was on like ep 4 when I walked in. And when I walked in, it was Benedict Cumberbatch getting ripped on meth in the subway with a bunch of homeless people and a 7-foot-tall blue monster, not unsimilar to Sully from Monsters, Inc. behind him like, "You're a bad dad, you know that, right? You suck at parenting, dude." And it was just really It was really weird.
I never have, nor shall I be on meth. So I don't know if that's a common thing. If you're on meth, by the way, text line 71307. If you're on meth, do you often hallucinate about monsters? We want to know.
Yeah, light up the text line. Start your text with fan meth, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, she seemed to enjoy it. I mean, she seemed to enjoy it. She was too deep in for me to like sit down and like get caught up with the whole thing. But the point here is, if you jump on to watch Benedict Cumberbatch do meth and get into bleep talking contest with a 7-foot-tall imaginary monster, then yeah, you can pay to not have commercials. That's not sports. When you think Netflix, you don't think commercials. When you think NFL, you absolutely do think about commercials and not much else, to be honest with you. The entire product is driven by, funded by advertisements on television, in person, et cetera, et cetera. When you watch an NFL game, you are the product.
Unless you record the game and start watching a half hour later so you can skip all the commercials.
I mean, sure. I think most people don't do that.
I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, most people don't do
All right.
that.
I don't think you know most people. So,
I know a lot of people.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. How many of y'all don't sit down for whatever your team's game is at 1 o'clock on Sunday? You wait till 3 and DVR it.
By the way, I said a half hour. Why? You DVR.
A half hour is not a half hour. You'll be caught up to the live stream by the end of the first quarter.
No, it's halftime.
Even still, you're still watching
I speak from experience. It's halftime.
The point is, while I appreciate your efforts to avoid commercials,
except for radio spots, which are far superior to anything that
never
TV does.
turn us off.
Yes.
While I appreciate your dedication to avoid commercials, I go to bars. No, people are watching from kick at 1 p.m. So regardless of how that plays out.
So when the commercials come on TV in a bar, the people are still looking at the TV. They're not turning away and doing something
But
else.
as any good ad person will tell you, it does not matter as long as you are on in the background and getting into the subconscious, which is why so many commercials are reliant on jingles and little singy songs and being outlandishly ridiculous to catch your attention.
By the way, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Let us get into your subconscious.
We live in your subconscious. So, all of that being said, can there be too much NFL on TV? Now, as far as the Christmas stuff goes, I would make one more point, and I do think some folks haven't necessarily considered this. Commercials get prohibitively more expensive as we get towards Christmas time. Why? Because Christmas is a prepackaged, commercialized holiday now, like it or not. And when you are advertising a product approaching Christmas time, you want to have it advertised in a way that people are spending their money leading up to Christmas. You want to have people understand about, know about, recognize your product before Christmas so they spend their money. How many of us are going out and spending a buttload of money after Christmas? Not very many. Not very many. Not those of us in regular blue collar land after we have blown through a couple of years worth of mortgages to buy our Christmas presents. After Christmas has come and gone, a good percentage of us usually start to take it easy. I got to pull back on the spending for a little while to get caught back up with the savings. So that might have something to do with it. There's not really a point in me advertising my new toy on TV post-Christmas, right? But apparently, this is not just a Netflix thing. Apparently, you are seeing companies that are unwilling to continue to spending vast amounts of money to have their advertisements run on Amazon Prime for Thursday Night Football, on NBC for Sunday Night Football. Apparently, companies have kind of hit the market cap of what they're willing to spend on the NFL. And I asked the question, Is that because the market has equaled itself out when it comes to advertising on NFL football? Or is it because there is so damn much football spread out across so many places that advertisers just recognize you can't hit all the eyeballs anymore? You got to spread it out a little bit, but the budget's not changed. I don't know. We'll talk some more about this coming up later on in the show. Larry the Cable Guy at 7 o'clock will join us on the show at 8:40. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast talks Panther ball at 9:20. Fight Club with the great Malonzo. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Do we have any meth texts yet?
None so far.
Okay, I'm just curious. Look, there's Eminem rapping in overalls and a hockey mask. No, on my screen.
Oh.
Yes. Augusta. Island Boys Frankie Venegas gave cops twin brother's name after Florida arrest. We're the Island Boys. Why is that sound familiar?
If you don't know who they are, live in that bliss.
Okay. Have you seen the giraffe trying to steal the baby?
No.
Yeah. It's been everywhere. I read about it before I seen it. It just popped up on my feed. But yeah, the giraffe definitely, I don't know what it's trying to do with the baby, but it did not get it out of the car, but the baby was up there a little bit. It was one of those drive-through safaris. I can't tell if it was the dad or the mom, but when the baby was released, they actually caught the baby.
Oh, cool. I have seen that one before. He reaches over the fence and picks him up.
Oh, there's no fence. This is right on the road.
Oh, then no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so
this
then
just
that
happened.
Means there are at least 2 times that giraffes have tried to steal babies.
This just happened yesterday, I think. Oh man, it always seems to rain for the BMW.
Last year was beautiful.
Yeah, but a couple of years before that, there was like a couple years in a row before you got here where it was just raining.
I have said before, in fact, honestly, I don't know if I'm in trouble for it or not. I also don't particularly care if I am. I have said before that there are some fan bases that I take great joy in their suffering. No, not that one.
Oh, wait. That's me.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That is very you.
I got us confused for a second.
That is very, very you.
Don't get mad at me. He's not pro or anti that team. I, on the other hand,
anti that team. There are some fan bases in whom
not anti the team, just anti the fans.
You're a little anti the team because of the fans.
Well, orange is ugly, but I mean, that's whatever. And orange and purple together, it's like baby poo. Have you ever seen baby poo? It's like where do those colors come from?
Babies.
Yeah, but especially when they didn't actually eat something that was that color and then it comes out that way, it's interesting.
And I am done with this conversation. There are.
You ever mix Play-Doh together?
Will you stop? Oh, there are some teams in whom fans suffering I take great pleasure and great joy. Fans of football, hockey, baseball, basketball, soccer teams in New York City are on that list. Fans of the Atlanta Falcons are on that list. For me, personally, all due respect, Atlanta fans.
Why are you all due respect?
Because there's a bunch of them here, and I don't want to get beat up in the parking lot because they're absolutely the kind of people that will beat you up in a parking lot.
Especially since you've said many times that you've never been in a fight, so it's like easy pickings.
Let's not go bananas here. I got it in the background.
Oh, you spelt now, so you think you can go. You go square up or
put your hair up and square up, son. I enjoy when Atlanta fans suffer. I enjoy when fans of teams out of New York City suffer. And I enjoy when fans of Los Angeles teams suffer. Now, I don't have anything against New York City. Personally, in fact, quite the opposite. I love New York City. I think it is one of the greatest places in the world. I don't have anything against Los Angeles as a city. I've never been there. It's very high on the list. The lady friend and I are working on putting together a trip out to sunny South California.
Save up a lot of money.
It ain't cheap. But I've heard it's a wonderful place to go spend a weekend.
You're going to go try to climb the Hollywood sign?
I don't think you're allowed to do that. I think you can go up to it, but I don't think you can get
There's
on
a
it.
fence, but if you're going to climb the sign, you can climb a fence. I'm just guessing.
Either way, I enjoy the suffering of some fan groups. Now, it does make it a little difficult sometimes to enjoy the suffering of a particular fan group when somebody plays for that team that I actually do like. I would like to cite to you the Los Angeles Lakers because there's enough drama going on right now around the Lakers that I can justify doing an entire segment about it on our little radio station down in Greenville, South Carolina.
You'll talk about your great love for Anthony Davis, of course.
Lols.
Sorry, being salty again.
So, I'm glad you brought up Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis plays into the developing state of affairs that are currently taking place in sunny Los Angeles, California. There's a couple of things happening right now that are, to me, quite interesting. So we know the Lakers need a new head coach. They fired Coach Ham when the season came to a rather disappointing conclusion for the Lake Show. There are some of us out there that think Coach Ham may have been blamed a little bit more than he deserved to be.
Nope.
Regardless of how you feel about Coach Hammond, whether or not it was on him, he lost his job. The Lake Show needs a new HC. One of the names that has been thrown around in consideration for that role is ESPN's JJ Redick, former Duke Blue Devils legend.
I've been waiting for a week for an opportunity to play it somewhere.
And you picked JJ Redick?
It's because I'm salty.
That checks out. So one of the names that has been thrown around is JJ Redick. And there are many people that have said, why JJ Redick? And then people started to remember, oh, that is correct. JJ Redick currently hosts a podcast about basketball, a podcast in which, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate this, JJ Redick loves nothing more than sipping a little Bordeaux and telling everybody in America how he's the biggest, smartest basketball boy out there. He just knows ball. It's pretty great, to be honest with you. Just because it's a good gimmick. And his co-host on said, I know basketball more than you pod, is, of course, Los Angeles Lakers megastar LeBron James. And so the thought is that Bron has been making the push to bring JJ Redick on board as the new HC of the LAL.
Hold on. Players don't have any influence at all on whether, a team or organization hires a certain person. Players don't do that.
Most players don't.
They just go out there and play their game. That's what they do.
King James does. Or at least he could.
Allegedly.
Because then after that story came out and you pile that on top with the story that LeBron has for years wanted to play a season with Bronny in the NBA, LeBron came out a handful of days later and he said, whoa, everybody hold up now. I'm walking back those statements. Playing with Bronny is not a priority for me anymore, and I don't have any say in who gets the head coaching job of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I don't believe for a damn second either one of those claims.
Wow. So you're calling him a liar.
Yes, I am. I am calling LeBron James a guy that I love and enjoy watching play hoops to this day. I am saying he's full of crap. Now, I totally understand why he's full of crap, because LeBron is setting up Bronny to get the Caitlin Clark treatment. He is setting up Bronny to be labeled a Nepo baby and get the hell beat out of him for getting special treatment.
How's he? Well, he's going to get that no matter what, just because of who he is. He's not setting him up. He set him up by having him.
If Bronny is drafted number 1 through, 100 overall, no one believes that he is that high of a draft pick as a player. He is that high of a draft pick for one reason and one reason alone, as an enticement to get LeBron James to leave Los Angeles and come play for you. That is it. And on top of that, by drafting him that high, you put an immense amount of pressure on that kid to, be LeBron James. Even if you only drafted him to get the actual LeBron James. And the other thing that comes into play is you may hurt, if you were LeBron James, Bronny's chances of actually developing into an NBA star. So I get why he would abandon the I want to play with Bronny stuff to protect his kid. It's a good dad move. I got no problem with it. But the whole I don't have anything to do with the JJ Redick story thing is crap. LeBron, you know it, I know it. The Lakers are not looking at hiring a guy that is never coached at any level higher than like YMCA youth ball to be the head coach of the most prestigious franchise, I'll say it, in all of American sports for no good reason. It's because of you, my dude. But here's where the drama has accelerated. The other name that is being discussed as a potential head coach is associate head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, James Borrego. James Borrego has been discussed as the second leading candidate. And here comes the drama. The drama is that apparently Anthony Davis prefers James Borrego to JJ Redick. Wait, there's more. Not only does AD prefer James Borrego to JJ Redick, but on top of that preference, apparently Anthony Davis is a little bit up in his fifis right now. Apparently his feelings got hurt. Why? Because LeBron James the other day said that he's got a lot of respect for what Kyrie Irving is doing, making it to the NBA Finals, and that he misses Kyrie and is disappointed he can't be his running buddy anymore. But wait, there's more. Apparently, Anthony Davis took that personally. He's like, yo, hold up. I thought I was your running buddy. You know how sometimes you think somebody's your best friend, and then somebody else says, who's your best friend? And your best friend says somebody else is their best friend, and it's like awkward. That, but the NBA.
That happens to me on a daily basis.
I mean, it's happened to all of us. It's a tough spot.
It never happens to Rob Brown, ever.
No, I'm everybody's best friend. But wait, there's more. Apparently, on top of the Bronny stuff, the Redick stuff, the Borrego stuff, the AD preferring a guy over LeBron's guy, and also AD being up in his fifis about LBJ saying that KI is his BFF. I'm stunned I got through that.
Wow, that was a thing there.
I'm very good at this. On top of all of that, apparently, the LA Lakers are shopping Anthony Davis right now and have considered making a trade to the Chicago Bulls that would bring DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and a fistful of other pretty good players to Los Angeles in return for Anthony Davis and send him up to the Windy City. Y'all, Hollywood is known for drama. It's known for drama on the silver screen. It's known for drama on the small screen. It's known for drama amidst its variety of celebrities. It's known for its tabloids. It is known for the drama. And yet here are the LA Lakers putting together a freaking Netflix documentary in the making with all of the when D Ham got fired and the Lake Show got bounced by a very good Denver team, but a Denver team that would not make it out of the Western Conference semifinals. Everybody went, uh-oh, the Lakers are coming back. LeBron is going to come back. He's going to sign his option. He's going to turns out he's not signing his option. Now we got drama around the head coaching search. Now we've got drama taking place around Anthony Davis and LeBron, the good cop, bad cop duo. Now we've got drama about the Lakers administration potentially trading AD, which, let's be real, if they are trading Anthony Davis, it is only to keep LeBron James happy. Jeannie Buss, the owner of the team, has already said they want to keep LeBron James no matter the cost. They want to keep LeBron in the fold no matter what conditions LeBron sets for them. And if AD is in his fees over LBJ, giving some love to Kyrie to the point that he is openly sadsies about it, and LeBron gets sick of that crap because why? He's been trying to hand the crown to AD. He's been trying to hand the mantle to AD, and AD just has consistently been unwilling to step into the role of a superstar.
By the way,
dudes
real
and
quick,
dudettes.
there's just been a Woj bomb that kind of blows up everything.
Oh, please ruin my segment, Woj.
Yeah, I could have waited. The Los Angeles Lakers are targeting Connecticut's Dan Hurley to become the franchise's next coach and are preparing a massive long-term contract offer to bring the back-to-back national champion to the NBA.
Well,
Sources tell ESPN.
Two things. Number one, my timing is, and also holy to both of those things. What a wonderful waste of 14 minutes of my and your time.
It just drops.
Incredible, Rob. Thanks, Woj. I just had a phenomenal segment pulled together, and then Woj he waits until the last 8 seconds of the segment and says, "You, Rob." Well, that was stellar. Here's Lonzo doing a sports flash. Thanks, Adrian. Golly.
I shouldn't have told him, but I'm salty. The winning streak lasted just one game for the Atlanta Braves, who dropped a 9-0 decision to the Boston Red Sox last night. Ricky Spencer Schellenbach gave up 7 hits and 6 earned runs in a 4.2 innings, while Atlanta's offense managed just 1 hit on the day, going a combined 1 for 28. Former South Carolina Gamecock A'ja Wilson had a historic night in her Las Vegas Aces 95-81 win over the Dallas Wings last night. Wilson ended the evening with 36 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 steals to become the first player in league history with a 35-10-5 night. Wilson scored 12 of the first 20 for Vegas, who led by as many as 20 points in the game. Hey, make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And it's all Wire to Wire. Augusta Road.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized with help from Beacon. I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus. 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying certain 2 cheapos online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries. Everyone, it's Boomer Esiason here. Superchargers, headlights, and more with over 122 million parts.
Performance.
You need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time for your money back. Stay on your game, all with parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. It's the Rob Brown Show. The County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee confirmed to the Post that 57-year-old Darius Rucker was booked on 3 separate charges. The Hootie and the Blowfish member was charged. What do you mean member? He's Hootie. He's banned. There is no Hootie. Was charged with 2 counts of simple possession, casual exchange of a controlled substance, and 1 count of a violation of the state's vehicle registration law. In layman's terms, Rucker was allegedly involved in a drug handoff, and law enforcement claimed his tags were expired. I love this. He appeared emotionless in his mugshot. Yeah, I'm sure because he was like halfway between stoned and furious.
He's supposed to cry.
I mean, let him cry. If the tears fall down like rain, let her cry. You know I had to. Come on. It was right there. I set you up. It was right there.
Don't hit snooze. The Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search The Fan Upstate.
Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
QC in the first break. Rob Brown Show. Hello, Mr. the Cable Guy. If you hang on just a... I know. If you hang on just a second, we're getting ready to go on the air right now, and we'll get you right on. Hang on. What? I told you I'd do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Rob Brown Sports Talk radio program is once again live in your ear holes right this very second. Great to have you back. Happy Thursday, my dudes, my dudettes, my amigos, my amiguettes. Spectacular to have you. Rob Brown and the great one Lonzo with you this AM and every AM from 6 until 10 a.m. right here on the Fan Upstate. Now, ordinarily, this is where we would do the water cooler cheat sheet. Ordinarily, this is where we would tell you about the top 3 sports stories going on in, well, sports. That's a good place for them to happen. But instead, we're going to go to the phone lines. We're going to go to the phone lines because we have a very special guest joining us here on the show. He is in town to play in the BMW Pro-Am event. He is Larry the Cable Guy joining us here on the show. Larry, good morning, man. Welcome to the Rob Brown Show. How we doing, sir?
Well, it's too early to be playing golf, I'll tell you that much.
Dude, how do you get up out of bed this or listen, golf's great, man, but like, can't they set you up for an afternoon round or something?
Boy, you'd think, wouldn't you? I mean, dadgum, you couldn't get me on a cheerleader at 6:50 in the morning. I mean, it is early.
You know they make me get up out of bed at 3:30 in the morning to come do this show?
Yeah, I'd rework my contract if I was you.
I tried. They said no. It's shocking. Larry the Cable Guy here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate in town for the BMW Pro. Man, you've been playing this event for a whole lot of years. Is this something you keep circled on the calendar to come down to Greenville, South Carolina?
Yeah, you know what? Greenville's a great city. I love coming down there, Spartanburg. You know, we used to do a bunch of shows down here in the day and still do come down here, but people are nice. But it's just a really good tournament. You know, I do a ton of these tournaments, and this is one of my favorite ones. They do it upright. The courses are nice. I get to play with my buddy Brandon Crick. You know, I sponsor Brandon in the Corn Ferry Tours, so I'll play with him this week. His brother caddies for me. We just have a nice time. It's a lot of fun. They're raising a lot of money down here for local organizations, and it's just fun to be a part of it. So I'm always it's definitely a circle date on the calendar.
I love it. I love it. Larry the Cable Guy joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I got the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you at this event last year, Larry, and I got to tell you, man, the Tow Mater golf shoes are maybe the best thing I've seen anybody wearing in terms of the footwear game. Like, you can keep your Yeezys and your Air Force Ones. Where can I snag a pair of Tow Mater golf spikes?
You know, those are really cool shoes. And first of all, I apologize about my throat. I went hoarse. I went and visited a bunch of kids the other day, and they had a big autograph line for me. They all wanted me to do the Mater voice. I couldn't do the Mater voice because I was all hoarse. But I got hoarse from yelling "4" so many times playing golf. I get tired of them. But yeah, no, those shoes. One night on Twitter, I was on just reading stuff, and the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds about 2 years ago said, had a picture of those shoes and said, "I'm wearing these Mater cleats from a little boy. He's a big fan of Mater." And I'm like, "Man, those are some cool cleats." So I sent him a message and I said, "You know who'd love to have a pair of those, Mater?" And so he texted me back, and 2 weeks later I had a pair of them. So that's where I saw him. He had them custom made for his game and for his boys. So I snagged a pair. They sent me a pair. So yeah, they're a big hit, man. People love them.
Love it. Love it. Larry the Cable Guy here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate getting set for the BMW Pro-Am that is taking place this weekend. Larry, I've never played in a golf tournament as big as the one that you're going to be playing in for the next few days, but I played in kind of a little one not too long ago. There were 9 people standing next to the tee box, and I was terrified that I was going to pipe a Pro V1 between the eyes of some poor unsuspecting fan. Do you feel pressure when there's a gallery out there watching you play?
You know what? It's crazy. You know, I can go up and perform in front of thousands and thousands of people, but when you get to that first tee on the first day with all those people watching, I've never been so nervous in my life. I remember one time Toby Keith and I played in a few of these, and we were at Pebble Beach one year. It was his first year there, and he's a pretty good golfer. And they introduced his name, and he couldn't even get the ball on the tee. His hands were shaking so bad, and then he finally got on the tee, and he turned around and he goes, "Redneck, I ain't never been no nervous in my entire life." And so it is nerve-wracking. But fortunately, all these things I've played in with all these galleries, I've only hit 2 people. So I've seen pros hit more than that. So I've been pretty fortunate.
Larry, the cable guy, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, I want to ask you, obviously we're a sports show here, Larry, so I'm going to throw a couple of questions. You're a big Nebraska Cornhusker guy. Obviously, a new head coach up there in Lincoln for the past couple of years, and one that I think the folks around here, because he was the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, was Matt Rule for a couple of years. Didn't really work out up in Charlotte, unfortunately, but Matt Rule's specialty has been growing the college game. As a Nebraska guy, how optimistic are you about the Matt Rule era up in Lincoln?
You know what? Well, they got something going on up there. I'm very excited. That defense is going to be one of the best in the country. They got everybody back from a really top defense last year. Trouble with last year, we didn't have really a quarterback. We lost 5 games because of turnovers and bad mistakes from the quarterback. But we got, of course, Dylan Raiola this year. And, man, I'll be honest, and not just because I'm biased, I'm a Husker fan. I don't see a reason we couldn't be 7-0 by the time we get into play Ohio State for our first big game. We got a pretty formidable, pretty good schedule, I wouldn't say easy, but not that tough a schedule for the first 7. So he's really doing a good job. People like him. As you can tell, hardly any kids transferred out of there. So they really like the way he coaches. He's good with the kids. And, man, I see a pretty good year. I just saw him. I had my foundation tournament Sunday and Monday, and I had Coach out there, and I had the whole Raiola family. I had Dylan out there, and Dom out there. So they're good folks. So, yeah, I think you're going to see Nebraska do something this year. We definitely like Matt Rule. I did bring up, though, when I was talking on stage there at my tournament, I did bring up Carolina Panthers and kind of put his head in his hands. I think he probably wish I wouldn't have brought that up, so I kind of moved on real quick.
Probably for the best. The folks around here are still a little salty about his time, but listen, we like Matt Rule's a college guy. Yeah.
They haven't stopped on the internet yet.
They have not. They have not stopped on the show, on the internet, because obviously it got a little squirrely. But I think what we learned about Matt Rule, and there's no shame, Larry, in being a college guy. Steve Spurrier tried it in the NFL. It did not work. Urban Meyer tried it in the NFL. It went off like a nuclear bomb in an orphanage. It was so bad. I am looking at Matt Rule and going, yeah, it was not good in Carolina, but this guy, what he did at Baylor, what he did at Temple, like everything feels like for a blue chip school like Nebraska used to be, you guys should be on the way back up because of that.
Oh, absolutely. And he's doing all the right things. I mean, the community likes him. He's very outgoing, very friendly, doesn't turn away anybody to sign or take pictures. He's definitely doing it right. That's a fact. And I think you're going to see a big turnaround this year with Nebraska.
I love it. I love it. Larry, the cable guy, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate as we are setting up for the BMW Pro-Am that is taking place over the next few days across the upstate of South Carolina. My understanding, Larry, is you've got a little bit of a connection with the Green Bay Packers as well. Obviously, Jordan Love over the last couple of years has really kind of taken off after he got out of the shadow of Aaron Rodgers. This team predicted to compete with the Detroit Lions in the division, top to bottom. Give me your thoughts on where that team is.
Yeah, you know what? Jordan Love really started to come around. And he's just sometimes when you watch his throwing motion, he does a lot of circus passes, and he reminds me a little of Favre when he goes and does some things, and throwing out of the pocket. And I think they're going to do really well. Of course, I was friends with Brett back in the day, so I'd go up to a bunch of Packer games and hang out with Brett and I miss those days. But once Jordan Love started taking, my kid said that. My kid was like, Jordan Love stinks, blah, blah, blah. I go, give him time, buddy, give him time. He's a good quarterback. And then all of a sudden he turned it on. So you're going to see the Packers do some good things as well this year.
I love it. Larry, the Cable Guy, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate, getting set up for the BMW. What time's your tea time today, by the way?
You know what? It's at 8:20, I believe. But we had to leave 4:45, 4:45 this morning to get down here because of traffic and fog. So here's the thing about golf. Golf is just a fun thing for me to do. I'm okay at it, but not that good. But golf reminds me of the Department of Motor Vehicles. After about an hour, I want to punch everybody around me.
Listen, you're better than me because if I've got an 8:20 tee time, there's a good chance I'm pulling into the parking lot sideways at like 8:15. So good on you for getting up and doing it.
Hey, sometimes you play better when you don't go to the range. You just go to your car and play. You don't want to think about it too much. I think about it too much.
Listen, at this point, I'll take anything to play better. Larry, the Cable Guy, in town for the BMW Parade. Man, it is great to have you on the show. We appreciate it. Good luck out there swinging the sticks this weekend. And, man, as always, thanks for coming in town and being a part of something so special to us in the upstate.
No, man, I appreciate you having me on. I apologize about my voice. I've been doing a lot of talking out here, but I appreciate you having me on. If anybody wants to come out and watch the tournament, watch us play, we'd love to have you out. It's a real good time, and there's really good golfers in this field. So come on out and see us. Come root for me and Brandon Craig.
Done and done. We'll see you out there. Larry, the Cable Guy, we'll talk to you. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Get her done.
There it is. There it is. Wondered if he was going to toss that at us at the end. Larry, the Cable Guy, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate, getting set up for the BMW Prom and talking a little Husker football with us there for just a second.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because when he said Ohio State, I could have got in there, but it's like, nah.
I thought about setting you up there.
Yeah, just nah.
But I'm like, I don't know if I want to put Alonzo toe-to-toe up with Larry, the Cable Guy.
All I wanted to say to him, I said when I answered the phone, and I was done. So
Lonzo answered the phone and said, the Rob Brown Show, and then I heard nothing followed by, oh, good morning, Mr. the Cable Guy. I should have asked him, has anybody answered the phone with good morning, Mr. the Cable Guy before? Also, for the record, I know I threw like a weird little phrase in there in the middle. You know why I did that? I'm real curious to see if I just wanted to see if I can get that to turn up in a joke sometime down the pipe from Larry the Cable Guy.
Man, I hope not. Because that was not.
Come on, dude. If you have watched anything he's done since Blue Collar Comedy Tour, which, by the way, one of the greatest comedy albums ever put together.
Nuclear bomb in an orphanage?
Dude, that's exactly the kind of thing he would say. Exactly that. My man opened the interview with, you can't get me on a cheerleader at 6:15 in the morning.
There's a total difference between that and what you said. It's like opposite ends for sure.
That's exactly the kind of thing you'd say. And now I watch every Larry the Cable Guy special for the next couple of years to see if that turns up in one of his stand-up routines, I should get royalties or something. All right? I should.
At least an attaboy.
At least an attaboy.
There you go.
Appreciate Larry the Cable Guy and the folks over at the BMW Pro. And we are working on more interviews throughout the morning. Tomorrow morning, we are looking for David Wells, Vince Young, Ryan Leaf, all playing in this event. Matt Hamilton, and there are a handful of others that we have put in for. So hopefully we'll set you up with some more interviews over the next. Do not know about this morning. Obviously, the first morning of the tournament is a little bit chaotic as they, get folks out for their tee times and out on the range. And what they told my man, you have an 8:20 tee time. You've got to get out of bed at 5:15. Ugh.
Yeah, but
Bro.
he mentioned the fog. The fog was pretty bad this morning, so that's why they left a little bit earlier.
3 hours.
Yeah, I left 10 minutes early and still got here at the same time that I normally do. So,
Ugh. Give us a little Packer love there from Larry the Cable Guy too. I like that. Optimism about
he's-
Jordan Love.
he's
Said he's got
got-
a little Favre in him.
got a better shot of Green Bay doing well than Nebraska.
I'll
I'm just
actually tell you
saying.
the truth.
Nebraska
think-
will do well, but there's a couple teams in there that we'll see if they can compete against.
I think Nebraska is going to be. I'll bet the over on the wind toner. Wind toner?
I'm
What?
gonna bet the over on the wind toner.
I'm glad I didn't do that in front of Larry the Cable Guy. I will bet the over win total for the Huskers. They've got UTEP. They will win that game. They've got Colorado in Lincoln. They'll win that game. They've got Northern Iowa. They'll win that game. They've got Illinois. I'll make you a bet right now they win that game. I'll bet you here's the big one. This is going to be the first big test. I bet you they win in West Lafayette, Indiana, and they knock off Purdue. They got Rutgers. They can win that game. They're at Indiana. They can win that game. I do not have an issue with Larry the Cable Guy saying that Nebraska might damn well be 7-0 when they take the ride up the road to Columbus, Ohio.
All right, who do they have after Ohio State?
UCLA, and that's in Lincoln.
Yeah, that's a
winnable game.
Yeah, for sure.
They are at USC out in sunny Los Angeles, California. I don't know about SC this year. I don't. And the weird thing, it's going to be hard because USC is on that list. One of the reasons I can't stand, why? I say can't stand. I love LA. I don't even know if I love LA. I've never been there. I don't have the prejudice against LA that a lot of people have as a city. As far as their fans, I love seeing sad fans from LA. And one of the reasons why is because every single year we hear a million different reasons why USC's back, baby. Last year it was Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley and that defense, and then they stank. I don't think that Nebraska has an easy time beating SC on the road. So I'll say at this point, they could legitimately great one. They could legitimately start this season 8-2. No joke. Nebraska. Then they're then they're back home for Wisconsin. That'll be a fist fight.
Yeah.
And then they're on the road at Iowa, which as long as they score at least a field goal, they'll win that game. So how about
So wait, no Penn State, no Michigan?
No.
Wow.
No.
No Oregon,
Nope.
no.
Here's the schedule for Nebraska. UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana, Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Iowa. I could see Nebraska finishing this season at the absolute best, great one, 10-2. Realistically, 9-3. Worst case, 7-5. Absolute worst case, Nebraska's 7-5. But I'm gonna go 8-4 is better than it's less than reasonable. 8-4 is less than reasonable. 9-3 is genuinely reasonable. 10-2 is attainable.
I don't know. 11-1 might be a possibility.
I mean, what do you have that scares you? Ohio State's a loss. At USC.
I don't know about that, though. I don't.
USC's still going to be USC. They're still going to be loaded with talent. Whether Lincoln does anything with them is a toss-up. They're still going to be loaded with talent. So let's, for the sake of the argument, say Ohio State's an L. Let's say USC's an L. Is Wisconsin an L for Nebraska this year with Dylan Raiola at QB?
Was Wisconsin good last year? They're like in every other, like Indiana and Iowa, like in every other year kind of thing.
Wisconsin every now and then hits on one of those guys, like they just hit on a guy and they end up getting lucky. They end up just stumbling into a 5-star. Last year, Wisconsin ended the football season 5-4 in the Big Ten, 7-5 in the regular season.
Yeah, they probably got Wisconsin.
Dude, that's 10-2 for the Huskers under Matt Rule. Could you imagine the folks up in Charlotte watching Matt Rule go 10-2? Back after this with the water cooler cheat sheet on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, live read. We're coming right back. Do me a favor. Stay right there. Texture said, Larry, the cable guy on my favorite morning show to start my day. What am I, 18 in Orlando again? You ever heard any of Larry's old stuff? His like getting started stuff? He did not have that accent at all. And it's very weird to hear it.
Austin Butler is the guy we were talking about.
Okay. Yep.
Michael Shannon's in it. Do you know who Michael Shannon
I
is?
don't.
General Zod.
Okay. He's good. I like him. I've seen him in a couple of other things too.
I don't think it's going to be that good. I think it'll flop, but it probably will be Oscar worthy. So,
I think it looks awesome.
I mean, what's it about other than the writing?
Motorcycle gang. Just motorcycle
I know,
gangs.
but it doesn't show them fighting her. I mean, are they drug dealers? What are they? Are they just like to ride their bikes?
I get the feeling it's like Sons of Anarchy, which was a phenomenal show as a movie. So ordinarily we open up the hour with the water cooler cheat sheet, but we had a special guest, Larry the Cable Guy, joining us in the last segment. If you missed it, my dudes and dudettes, you have multiple options. The first is you can go to the Odyssey app on your digital device of choice. Go to the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, click the little heart button, go to the Rob Brown Show, and use the Odyssey Rewind feature. Rewind back to the beginning of this hour, and you can hear our discussion with Larry the Cable Guy, who stopped by for a handful of minutes as he gets set up for the BMW Pro-Am, which gets its kickoff today. We will hopefully have some more interviews lined up for you either later this morning or across tomorrow's radio broadcast. Still looking for you, Brian Bumgardner, because I don't know if you owe me a beer or I owe you a beer, but somebody owes somebody a beer, my guy. So we'll see if we can get a couple more interviews lined up for you. We are working on that. But go to the Odyssey app, go to the Odyssey Rewind. You can take it back to the beginning of the hour. Or option number 2 is you can wait to the end of this hour. You can give Lonzo approximately 97 seconds to get this entire hour loaded up on the podcast section. Go to the top of the page, go to podcast, drop it down, select the Rob Brown Show, and you can listen to every hour of the show on demand just mere seconds after it concludes live on the radio. And the final option you have is to go to your podcast supplier of choice, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your pods. Search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show. Subscribe to that show. That show, the Rob Brown Show, that show. And every hour gets uploaded there in podcast format on demand as well. But since we did have Larry the Cable Guy on in the last segment, and you are now less than 33 minutes away from having to clock into your job, let's go ahead and do it now. Let's go ahead and get the top 3 sports stories in on today's Water Cooler Cheat Sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Take their first bathroom break."
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the abbreviated and accelerated version of the cheat sheet today, as we are a little bit behind and in an on-the-clock scenario. So let's dive right in with item number 1. Rare is the day that a water cooler cheat sheet caliber story breaks while we are on the air, but we have one right here for you. Just seconds after Rob Brown concluded. There it is. Breaking news. Sure, why not? Brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books with the BetQL network. Get the BetQL app, add it to your phone, and get insights to make yourself smarter. Oh, and also BT Dubs, listen to Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network. And make sure, no matter what you're doing, listen, you're going to be sitting around watching college baseball regionals all day Saturday if you're a sports fan, ain't you? So go ahead and tune in to Bet for the Cycle with myself and Cody Decker from noon to 4 on the BetQL network. And I would especially encourage you to do so this Saturday, because this Saturday is the last ride of Hating Ass Mario. His last Saturday with us on the broadcast is this Saturday as he departs our show.
Who's going to cry first?
Me, for sure.
Okay.
And I will acknowledge it, because for all the hell that I give that kid, I freaking love Mario like a brother.
All right, because it is a betting show, If I were to bet, I would bet Cody Christ first because of all that bravado and everything. He seems like a guy who gets attached emotionally. It's underneath, and he doesn't want people to think that he's that guy. I bet he cries.
I won't read them, but if I did read you the text that Cody sent Mario when the promotion was announced, I would kick the legs out from underneath his bad boy persona for sure.
He's been on the show once, and I could tell already.
I will let you know that, jokes aside, Cody and I both freaking love that dude, Mario, and both of us were, it is more than fair to say, devastated when they told us that he was getting yanked from our show to move up to BetMGM tonight. Super proud of him, super happy for him. It is deserved for sure, but it sucks for us to lose that guy, which is why we're giving him so much hell on the way out the door. But it sucks for us. Really stoked to have Double D join the ranks. Double D, David Dykstra, phenomenal guy. He's been with us for the whole time, as well as our beloved board monkey moving up into the EP spot. But yeah, we do not like losing Mario. It's bad. So tune in this Saturday for Mario's last ride on Bet for the Cycle. All right, real quick, let's run through these. Item number 1 on the water cooler cheat sheet, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, literally seconds after I spent an entire segment talking about the drama in LA, the drama with AD, the drama with Bron, the drama with Bronny, the drama with Jeannie, and the drama with the discussion between JJ Redick and James Borrego. Of course, he's not saying he does, but we all know when Bron was the one who got JJ Redick's name brought up. AD apparently wanted James Borrego, and there was a little drama brewing, especially after LeBron heaped praise upon one Kyrie Irving and said, I wish I could be his running buddy still. Literally after I said that, the Wash Bomb dropped that the LA Lakers are, quote, targeting UConn's men's basketball coach Dan Hurley as the franchise's next coach and are preparing a massive long-term contract offer to bring the back-to-back NCAA national champion to the NBA. End quote. The Lakers apparently had contact with Hurley, and the sides are planning to escalate discussions in the coming days. Hurley has been at the forefront of the Lakers search from the beginning of the process, even while the organization has done its due diligence interviewing several other candidates. And apparently, Dan Hurley is willing to bring the success he has had at UConn and try to establish that there in LA. I am real intrigued by this because Dan Hurley, he's only 51 years old, which in the grand scheme of coaching ain't that old. He is only 11 years older than LeBron, who is the focus for the Lakers right now. So that is enormous news. What I am interested in, and it's not just Dan Hurley, it is any time that a top-notch college coach makes his way up or an NFL or NBA coach makes their way down, it is a different form of communication, coaching college kids, than it is NBA professionals. So we'll see if that translates. Let's get to item number 2. A'ja Wilson last night setting an NBA historical marker, 36 points, 12 boards, and 6 steals as her Las Vegas Aces knocked off the Dallas Wings 95-81. The history, Wilson becomes the first player in the history of the Dub to have at least 35 points, 10 boards, and 5 steals in a game. She is also the first with at least 35 points and 5 steals in multiple games. Wednesday's outing was Wilson's 10th career game with at least 30 points and 10 boards, and she became the 7th W player with 10 or more such games. The other names on that list, it's a who's who. Tina Charles, Brianna Stewart, Lauren Jackson, Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, and Brittany Griner. Wilson's performance came in a physical game that left her face bloodied when she was hit multiple times while driving to the hoop. That drew frustration from the Aces, with Becky Hammon, her coach, getting teed up. Wilson said, quote, I just take what the defense gives me and just flow with the game. My teammates really just keep me afloat. I want to say this real quick, and we're going to circle back around to this later on in the show because there's a couple of discussions about the Dub that I'd like to have today. We can talk about Caitlin Clark. We can talk about Angel Reese. We can talk about Cameron Brink. We can talk about Rakia Jackson. We can talk about Kennedy Carter. We can talk about Kelsey Plum. We can talk about any of these players, and we should talk about these players. However, y'all, former Gamecock Asia Wilson is the WNBA right now. She is the best player on the planet when it comes to women's basketball right now. There is no one doing what the former Gamecock is doing, and she should freaking be recognized for it. We'll talk more about her later. A very quick look at item number 3. The Women's College World Series is underway right now. The championship finals got underway last night, and it's a Red River rivalry, y'all. The only thing better than a Women's College World Series final is a Women's College World Series final that is a rivalry game. Texas and Oklahoma, and the Boomer Sooners strike first with an 8-3 win on the back of 3 different dingers last night. Pickering Jennings and Hansen all went yard for the Sooners last night. Kelly Maxwell went a complete game, 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, only one of them earned, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts for a 2 ERA on the evening last night. The Sooners racked up 9 hits while allowing only 4 on the night. Game number 2 is this evening, and if the Sooners are able to win one of the next 2, they will have won not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 consecutive national championships in softball. The question is not, are the Sooners a softball dynasty? The question is, how long are they going to remain one? We can get into that later as well. The Rob Brown Show continues after this on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more live, and we're coming right back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. So you guys may remember my buddy Mike who texted us last week or called the show last
A friend
week.
you should be proud of, but instead you're just disparaging him.
I responded to him. So he is texting me pictures because he is playing the old course at St. Andrews right now. And so he is texting me pictures from the most famous fairway in all of golf at the old course at St. Andrews. I responded with 2 texts. On one hand, I'm genuinely happy for you, my brother. That's a core memory and an unbelievable experience.
Brother.
On the other hand, I hope you fall into a trap taller than you are because he's short, and I'm not going to not take the easy way out there.
Wait. So Rob Brown is doing a short joke?
For this? Yes.
Really?
For this,
Okay.
yes.
Is he taller than Bryce Young?
No. My buddy Mike's like 5'5".
So only a little
And
bit
I do
shorter
not
than
make
Bryce
short jokes, except when you are texting me pictures from the fairway at the old course at St. Andrews because you are a joke. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Be a part of the show, 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the show. South Carolina fans, I need your input. I need your thoughts on the hiring of your head baseball coach. Now, I talked a little bit about this back on Monday after Mark Kingston got fired as the HC of the baseball team. I brought up the fact that I have a working theory when it comes to sports. And that working theory is that while athletic directors may not always acknowledge it, I very firmly believe that being surpassed by a rival is a factor into the decisions that get made about how to run a program. And I do believe to some degree that Clemson has indeed surpassed South Carolina in baseball right now. They are getting set up to play a super regional against the University of Florida that starts this weekend, while South Carolina went on the road to a regional. Clemson hosted theirs and got bounced from that regional and have seen their season come to a conclusion. So the discussion that is going on right now is hopes to replace Mark Kingston with. There is no prevailing favorite. There is one name that has been thrown out there more than any other name, and that, of course, is Monty Lee. Monty Lee, who was already on the staff. Monty Lee, who previously coached at both the College of Charleston and Clemson. While at COC, he led the Cougars to the program's second super regional appearance. In his first year at Clemson, the Tigers won the 2016 ACC Tournament Championship. It was their first tournament championship since 2006. Clemson also recorded 3 straight 40-plus win seasons in Monty Lee's first 3 years. However, Monty Lee did not make it to a super regional at Clemson despite 4 straight trips to the NCAA tournament in 2016, 17, 18, and 19, and they hosted a regional in 3 straight years during that span. Of course, we have talked about the fact that coming into this season, Clemson had failed to escape a hosted regional 5 out of the last 5 times. And that was part of the reason that Monty Lee was no longer there. Now, the second thing that has a lot of South Carolina fans excited about Monty Lee is obviously the fact that Monty Lee has spent the majority of his baseball life in South Carolina. In fact, the only portion of his life that he did not spend in the Palmetto State were the years that he was playing minor league baseball. He played his college ball at the College of Charleston. He became the first Cougars position player to be drafted when the Cardinals picked him up in 1999. After his playing career came to its conclusion, he came back. His coaching career started at Spartanburg Methodist. He has been an assistant coach in 2 stints at USC, once under Ray Tanner, and then obviously the most recent time under Kingston. In the middle, had successful head coaching runs at the College of Charleston, and you can argue at Clemson, even if he did not make a super regional during that time. And now, the fan base to me seems to be split a little bit. It seems to be split between 2 groups of Gamecock baseball fans. There is a portion of the fans that seem to want Monty Lee to step into the head coaching role. And then there's a group of fans that are adamantly against that. The fans that want him to take that position are citing the successful run that he had at College of Charleston, the successful run that he had at Clemson, despite ignoring the fact that he did not make it out of a regional during that time. He had multiple 40-win seasons, as we have mentioned. He had an ACC tournament appearance. The ACC continues to prove that if it is not still the best conference in college baseball, it is no worse than tied for that title right now. Now, there are other names out there that the other group of fans are floating. Chris Pollard at Duke, Josh Allender, who is the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator at Tennessee, Chris Lamanis down at Mississippi State, Kevin O'Sullivan down at Florida, who will be in town this weekend, Cliff Godwin, who's at ECU. These are all names that I have heard thrown out there as potential candidates for the job. But there's an X factor here in this discussion that I think is being overplayed by the folks who want to keep Monty on as the HC. And that X factor is the fact that the guys on the roster and the guys that are on their way to South Carolina to play hardball all seem to want to keep him on board. They all want to keep him in the mix. Here's why I think that is not a good reason. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying this is why that is not a good reason to keep Monty in the program right now. The reason I get concerned about Monty Lee is because is it all that shocking that a guy who recruited these guys and got them to Columbia is the guy that these guys want to be the guy? Is it shocking that a dude that was the major factor of their recruiting is the guy that they want to, stay there? Probably not. It's probably not. It shouldn't be that big of a shock. I am not saying that making guys like Kennedy Jones, like Dalton Reeves happy is unimportant. Of course it is. The transfer portal is a thing now. If you don't give the guy that they want to be the guy the job as the guy, then they might go. As you found out, if you were a South Carolina basketball fan, when Frank Martin was relieved of his duties and a handful of players from his roster transferred out of South Carolina to go play elsewhere. What I would say is you cannot run your program that way. You can't. I'm not saying Monty Lee can't be the guy. Again, he had success at Clemson. He did not have postseason success outside of the conference. He did get to a number of regionals. He did host 3 regionals. But South Carolina does not play for regionals. They do not play for super regionals. They play for trips to Omaha. Whether or not that is fair is up to you to decide. Whether or not you feel like the standard at SC should be higher than it is at other schools, that's up for you to decide. My understanding so far is that Gamecock fans, by and large, do feel that way. They do have pride in that program. They do believe that that program should be annually taking trips to Omaha. It's up to you to decide if that is fair or not. What I will say is making recruits happy is important. There is no doubt about that. Making recruits happy, making guys on the roster, especially if you feel like the roster, at least in terms of skill position players, is good enough to get the job done, making them happy and keeping them around is important. However, you were talking about guys that are going to be on the program's roster for a maximum of 4 years. You were talking about guys that are playing for a school that, as far as baseball goes, has about the best you're going to get nationally in terms of facilities, in terms of money, in terms of staff, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to sit here and float a bunch of candidates. I know yesterday my dude Diesel got into the discussion of, do you let a guy from a small school make the jump all the way up to one of the most prestigious baseball programs in all of college ball? I'll let y'all have that discussion. We can embrace that discussion a little bit later. But right now the focus is on Monty Lee. Right now the focus is on, is the guy to be the guy already in the house? Is he already your interim guy? And the answer is maybe. Maybe. I know I got to pick a side, right? My job is to have a take, to pick a side. Here's what I'm going to say about Monty Lee. You know your offense is going to flourish. You know the recruiting is going to be good because it already is. Those are both great. I have two questions. Number one, can he fix the pitching? Because that's your problem this year, Gamecock fans. I go back to the games against LSU in the Southeastern Conference tournament. Why'd you lose those games? Because your pitching fell apart. Twice you had a big lead on LSU, and twice your pitching fell apart down the stretch, and LSU started knocking the ball around the park, and they knocked you out of a tournament you absolutely had the offense to win. Through the semifinals, you outscored everybody else in that tournament. You had the firepower to win it. You didn't have the pitching. Can he fix that? And number two, can he win in the postseason? Because so far in his career, the answer is, a little, like a little bit. He can win a little bit in the postseason, but not like a lot of bit. And you're looking for a lot of it. Here's what I'm going to say. Ray Tanner, I do not envy your position right now. I don't. Because this feels to me, and maybe I'm being dramatic, this feels to me like the hiring of the next baseball coach. If baseball is that important to the Gamecocks fans, and I feel like it is, this hiring could create a bit of a Gamecock civil war. It could split the fan base in half, and the only thing that can fix it is winning. And if he makes that call, and they do not win and do not get out into at least the Supers next year, then that fight begins about not Monty Lee, not the baseball program, about Ray Tanner himself. Gamecock fans, agree or disagree, text me 71307. Start your text with fan. Call me 844-326-3663 on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone now. A guy who, if there was a postseason of reading sports flashes, would be in it every year, the great one, Lonzo.
All right, and thanks to that last guy, Rob went over 50 on saying the word guy. So if you bet the farm on over at 50, congratulations. The winning streak lasted just one game for the Atlanta Braves, who dropped a 9-0 decision to the Boston Red Sox last night. Ricky Spencer Schellenbach gave up 7 hits and 6 earned runs in a 4.2 innings, while Atlanta's offense managed just 1 hit on the day, going to combine 1 for 28. The College Football Playoff Committee has revealed the dates for its first season. The 4 first-round games will take place on December 20th and 21st, including a Saturday contest that will directly oppose an NFL game. Friday night will feature an 8 o'clock contest, followed by kicks at noon, 4, and 8 on Saturday. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, whole lot of fun, all Wire to Wire. That's a great question, Keegan. He did say guy a lot, by the way. It was a noticeable amount.
Yes, Keegan. I need you to know. I can't take the layup sometimes.
There's a certain amount of decorum. There's certain levels. I mean, there's highbrow, there's lowbrow. I mean,
And we are nothing but highbrow
Absolutely.
intellectual comedy. On this.
absolutely thought-provoking.
Thanks to Larry the Cable Guy for coming by the way.
You're wondering why it takes me so long to drink said Dr. Pepper. It's still fairly cold. You have no idea how cold it is in this room. It's like working in a milk cooler. If you ever worked in a grocery store, you know what I'm talking about.
I've never worked in a grocery store. I worked in a restaurant that I had to spend extended minutes in the food freezer.
Yeah, freezers are a little bit
Whew.
or a lot colder. Yes. Freezers in grocery, you have to put a jacket
Anytime
on.
somebody be like, hey, can you cover a table? I got to step into the freezer. You'd have 6 other people be like, can you grab me? Can you grab me? Can you grab me? Because nobody wants to do that.
It's probably really rough in Florida where
Going from like a 93 degree outside patio to a 17 degree freezer.
I waited till you put your headphones
Yeah, I
on for that.
appreciated it. I have a question for you, great one, and a question for you all out there in the Armada.
Wait. I have to interrupt. I hate doing this. I really do. But Wesley says, Rob, looking skinny, my guy. Well done. I mean, and he does look good, doesn't he? Look at that. Look at that. And if you don't see him, it's because you're not on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X, and you should be. And you can see him doing the Hogan pose right now.
Of the physique of a Greek god.
Great.
Like Hercules over here.
Right. Another 10 pounds. He's going to be in here shirtless or crop topping.
You off the,
please don't crop top. Okay. You might be
start
tempted
doing the show
to.
like Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Just shirt tucked up in itself. Nah, that's not going to happen. Listen, I'll drop the LBs, but I don't think the abs will ever reappear. I am just destined to be Baron Corbin skinny fat for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that.
You notice how I pointed out reappear as if that they were
They
there
did.
at some point.
I used
Really?
to be a dude.
Would you have 8, 9, or that oblong
No.
weird 7 thing? That's not. They're not.
The Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Nah, I
it's-
didn't have the Finn Balor. I wasn't that, but I did. There were some lines back in the day.
Ooh.
I have a question for you, specifically for those of you that are married or in a long-term relationship, and I will throw this one at the great one as Lonzo noticeably outkicked his coverage with Miss Lisa, one of my favorite people.
Again, I love my wife. Maybe she outkicked her coverage. I don't. I mean, I just.
Nah.
I'm offended by that. I always am. I always am.
No, Miss Lisa's the best. So, is there any behavior that your significant other exhibits that makes you occasionally go, I'm married to a psychopath? Or that just kind of like takes you out of the zone for a minute? You're like, wait, what? You're doing what now?
Yeah, but I don't want to be. I mean, Lisa and I are doing this thing that happens to a lot of people. We're getting old,
Yeah.
and I can see levels of becoming old person in her, and I'm sure she sees it in me. So I wouldn't say it's psycho. It's a natural progression. I'm fighting it with all my being,
Sure.
and I think she's embracing it. So I mean, there's that.
And I think that's fair. The lady friend and I are having the same issue. Like, as we are now both within months of 40, like there are obvious aspects about our personality that are taken over. We had a laugh the other day because we were both scrolling through like old Facebook pictures of our 20s, like, oh, this is when I did this when I was 22 or whatever, and having a chuckle telling each other stories about the absolute lunacy of our 20s. And we're like, I don't think we would have dated in our 20s. In our late 30s, we fit like a glove in a hand, but in our 20s, we would not, because we were just wildly different people at the time. Here's why I asked this question. Yesterday, I made a I cook dinner in our relationship. I cook stuff. I like to cook. I enjoy it. So yesterday I cooked dinner, made dinner, brought her the dinner to the table. And as we sit down, I always ask, is there anything you need, right? Like, fellas, trust me on this question that will make your life easier. Is there anything you need? Just ask it every now and then. Not, oh, don't be obnoxious, but just every now and then. Can I get you anything?
I do that.
Yep.
She rarely says yes.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
But when they do, you can provide. That's a big deal. Okay. So I said, is there anything you need? And she said, yeah. And she asked for a soda. She asked for her soda o' choice. Well, there were no sodas in the fridge. There were no cold sodas. We had just gone grocery shopping. They hadn't been put away yet. I said, oh, there's none cold. I said, do you want me to put you one over ice? And she said, no, I'll drink it warm. Huh? What? What?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Warm soda? Who is out there drinking warm sodas, you psychopaths?
So I know why this was triggered, because a question was asked of me earlier. on the
Exactly
stream.
correct.
Here's the thing. Ice dilutes the product. It makes it weaker. It just, especially as the ice melts, and it's going to melt a lot quicker pouring a hot beverage over it, and it dilutes the product.
I mean,
There are some, what Rob would call soda and I would call pop. There are some pops that are a little more acidic, a little bit harder to drink when they're warm, and then there are others that are not. Now let's take the nectar of the gods, Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper Zero. You can drink those room temperature.
I cannot fathom a room temperature soda. Why? Sodas are better cold. They're just better cold. They just are. That's just the definitive statement. They are better cold.
Yeah, but this from the guy who never heard anyone eating hot dogs out of the pack. There are some things that your 1%er lifestyle has never experienced, and some people can't afford refrigerators,
Okay, all right.
Rob.
Listen.
And so if they're lucky to get a soda, sometimes it gets warm.
So that would be fine, but we are not talking about the struggles of Lonzo's Ute. We are talking about grown-ups with a fridge. She owns a refrigerator that has an automatic ice machine. This isn't even a thing, because I've been in the spot before where it's like, all right, I'm not going to put ice in this, because if I put ice in this, I got to go to the fridge and I get the ice tray, and then you got to do the twisty thing.
You're trying
and
to
you
say
waste a bunch of
that-
ice, and then I got to refill the ice
Oh,
tray
you
and put it
don't
back
have-
in there.
You don't have. You just said you had a refrigerator with an
I
ice
do
maker.
now as
Yeah.
an adult. I wasn't always 40 with a job.
Okay.
Right?
Well, you try to gloss over the lifestyle
Stop
thing.
with the
but
some people can't afford ice. I could go in this building and pick up enough change to buy a bag of ice. It's $1.
Again, when you come from a place of privilege, which you do, and I don't fault you for that. I mean, good for you. You don't always fathom or understand, not necessarily the plight, but the perspective, the point of view of someone who came from the opposite end. And different cultures, I mean, South Carolina's culture is different than
listen,
Florida, and you know, they drink
is-
stuff warm sometimes.
This is a load. We are talking about ice. I'm not asking how many of the rest of y'all, like I do, sprinkle 24 karat gold leaf in your
All
soda.
right. I'm curious.
Ice.
I don't know how old soda pop is. I don't know when it was first invented. Was it invented before people had ice readily in their home?
Don't worry, I'm Googling.
Yes, because
The
ice.
first drinkable man-made carbonated water was created in 1767 by Englishman Joseph Priestley, who discovered how to infuse water with carbon dioxide. 3 years later, Swedish chemist Torben Bergman invented a device that used sulfuric acid to create carbonated water from chalk. Early sodas likely didn't taste great because creators tried to imitate natural mineral water. By the way, if you drink mineral water, you're a psychopath as well. That stuff's awful. It's awful. All right.
So now the question is, when was the modern refrigerator invented?
Listen,
It
none
was
of that matters. You are
1876, which means before 1876, and even in 1876, they weren't readily available in
are-
everyone's house. That means people drink stuff
Stop.
warm unless they
Stop.
lived in the north where they could put
Stop.
stuff out in the snow.
Stop. You're like, this is like me going, I got to go to the store. And you're like, Rob, in the 1400s, people didn't have cars. Yeah, no, that doesn't matter anymore. Okay?
It
doesn't matter.
It's another analogy that doesn't.
No, it
match up.
matters
It-
perfectly
it doesn't.
because I said, who drinks soda without ice? And your answer was, well, in the 1760s, they didn't. It doesn't matter. This isn't 1760.
Well,
In
they did,
2024,
actually. I mean, you said it.
ice is $1 for a bag that will last you a month.
I haven't bought ice in a while, but I guarantee you it's more than $1.
Dude, it is a
If you've been out there,
It's $1.29 at the gas station by my store. I know this because at
by
least
your-
once
by
the
your
house.
Yeah, you
Because
get
at least-
frustrated. I don't get
Yes,
it.
I am, because you throw up these ridiculous side routes to evade the point, and you know what you're doing.
What? I don't.
When were fridges invented? Who cares? They are invented now. We have them.
Well,
Everyone has them.
I know I was right on it, and I wanted you to acknowledge me being correct, but you won't. But that's fine. That's
Because
they
it's
know.
irrelevant.
They know it's irrelevant that I'm right.
For this point, yes. Hey, do you think the Buckeyes are going to win the title?
Here we go.
Quarks are the smallest particle.
Here we go.
Let's all stop
not-
and acknowledge
that's
Rob
not-
knows about quarks. No, it's
That's not
irrelevant.
what I did. Everything I did was definitely relevant. Out of all the arguments we've ever had, that is the most relevant point I've ever
No, it's
made, and you helped
Dude,
prove it by looking it
fridges
up.
being invented in the 1800s and soda in the 1700s is irrelevant to drinking soda in 2024. It's irrelevant.
It's not, because you know what you're doing? You're doing it the way the original makers intended. So if you drink it warm,
It is irrelevant.
they never made it to be cold. They made it in the warmth. They drink it warm.
And the original car went 7 miles an hour,
Again,
but then we
it
went,
does-
this is dumb, let's be better. And we did.
It doesn't work, but
It works perfect.
You win if you say you do.
Texter says, I drink my sodas warm. The only drinks I look over ice are water and sweet tea. How?
Yeah, I don't put water in it either. I mean, I usually drink my water room temperature.
Listen, the water, whatever. I can deal with the water. No worries. Your soda. You're raw dog in a warm soda? What? What are we talking about here? Now, I will say this. I understand because Nathan just popped in. He said, my wife is from the Philippines. When we go to visit, none of her family uses ice in their soda because it's too cold. I understand. I've been to Europe because I am a 1%er. I am better than you and you know it. And in Europe,
Thank you for pointing directly at me. I appreciate
you're
that.
making this one more than it needs to be. I'm going to finish it.
Am I?
I've been to Europe before. And when I've been to Europe, I learned that, yeah, if you want ice in a soda, you have to ask for it. They serve it warm. But we're not in Europe. This isn't Europe. This is America, where we have ice. And it's almost free. America. I said, can I get you a soda?
You just killed your whole thing by pointing
didn't.
out how the rest of the world drinks their soda.
If there is one person in this building who should not pop off at the other people do it this way argument, it's Lonzo. Lonzo is the king of doing things specifically because other people do it a different way.
That is not true. I am not a contrarian. You are. You proved it again today.
I said, can I get you a soda? She said, yes, please. I said, would you like it over ice? And she said, no, I'll drink it warm.
All right. So what did you do? What did you do? You didn't finish the story. Did you go get it and hand it to her? Or did you do what you just did for the last 10 minutes on the show?
I did it. I got her the soda. I'm not going to say no to her, but I walked across the kitchen. I got it. I brought it to her. I opened. I sit it down.
And you gave her a Chris look.
I sat across the table from her, and I stared her in the eyes the whole time. And she said, why are you looking at me like that? And I said, because I didn't know I was marrying a crazy person. And she was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you're drinking this soda warm. There is an ice machine a foot and a half away from you. And I know we have cups because I just got one. What are you doing? Do I drink my sodas warm? Why? We have an ice machine. You can touch it. You don't even have to get up. It is by the kitchen table. You can just slide the chair over a foot and have a cold soda. What are you doing with your life? I didn't get it. All right. That's enough of that.
There's probably a lot of things you didn't get after a tirade over.
Now you're back. That's a good joke. That's a real good joke. Inappropriate, and I liked it. All right, we got a bunch more stuff we need to get to on the show. I have been stunned since that moment in our lives last night, and I needed to address it.
It's amazing that you guys have been together for as long as you have, and you just now discovered this.
I racked my brain trying to think, have I ever seen her drink a warm soda? And the answer was honestly no. Now, I will also say that I am the dude that when we go to the grocery store and we get whatever, we put that thing away as soon as we get home. Like, she can't deal with the clutter in the kitchen. She is a neat freak. I obviously am not. But I went to the grocery store without her because there was stuff I needed. So I just knocked off the list while I was there. I brought the soda home. I didn't put 90% of the time, I put sodas right in the fridge so that when she gets home from work, she has a cold soda with her dinner.
Wait. You brought groceries home and you didn't put them away?
I put some of them away. I did not put the sodas in the fridge.
That's worse. That's worse. You put some of them away. So you just put the frozen away and left everything out.
I put the cold away. I put the frozen away.
So you were waiting for her to put the rest away.
No, I was not. I was not. Same thing she said, Guy. She's like, oh, you just put those away too? I said, I put away like 6 bags of groceries. I left out 1 12-pack of soda. So I don't get credit for the 99% of the groceries I did put away. I get beat up for the 12-pack I didn't. And then she has the audacity to look me in the eyes and go, well, I'd have a cold soda if you would.
She's absolutely right. That's what I was thinking.
Soda. The ice machine's right there. I can see it.
That's what I was thinking. This whole situation could have been remedied if you weren't lazy.
I offered you an ice cold soda. I offered to make it for you. What are we doing? I appreciate all of you being my therapist here.
What are we doing? That's what she said. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're all saying. If you would have just if you had just put it away in the first place, they didn't hear the whole story. Now that they've heard the whole story and realize it's all your fault.
That's not true. I got a bunch of people texting the show right now going, yeah, dude, this is how that game gets played. Like, I'm not alone.
No, Shane, he didn't offer to go the extra mile.
Yes, he did.
The extra mile, or the mile that he should have trod, would have been to put all the groceries away, not just part of them.
First off, 99%. Second off, did offer to go the extra mile because I said I will take time while my food is on the table cooling off right now. I will take the time to get you your favorite cup, to put your crushed or cubed, your preference, into the glass.
Oh, wow.
I will pour that soda. I will wait the time to make sure that you get the correct amount of fizz where it's not too much, but it's enough. I will make sure that your soda is served. I will do all of that for you because I did not put the soda away for you to just open a can of pop. And I understand that. So I will do all these things while my food cools off. And she went, no. I would just openly exhibit psychopathic behavior by drinking warm soda straight from the warm can. What are we doing?
All right, here's I don't know if you knew this about yourself, but you tend to get really excited over certain situations like bananas in the bathroom. And here's the thing. So
it was on the floor of the poop button, the poop box.
Yeah, here's the way to stop you from doing something. And I appreciate what she's doing because it's clever. You will always put that away now, forever. That will be the first thing that you put away when you bring home the groceries because you abhor the fact that someone is drinking warm soda.
Okay, listen.
She wins again.
I had a long day yesterday.
She wins again.
I got up at 3:30 in the morning. I left here. I had errands to run. I went over to Roper, enjoy my time there. Then I went, unprompted, by the way. I wasn't asked, can you go get the groceries? I just said, well, I got to go to the store. So let me go back home, get the grocery list, take it to the store, get the groceries, including going to 2 stores because one product, she doesn't like the brand they have at one store. So I get all the other groceries there and then go to the other store to get the brand of that thing she wants. Went to multiple stores, came back to the house. Checked? No, I didn't because the lady who hates me wasn't there. So I got off the hook.
So you found out when she works. And
you know what I realized I did, though? As I was leaving after self-checkout, I did, like, I'm a crumple the receipt, put it in the bottom of the bag guy. No, I held it. I held it out just in case. I'm like, she may materialize out of thin air like a paranormal specter.
You are conditioned.
I am. That lady may she may just materialize out of the ether like a ghost of shopping trip past. May I see your receipt, please? No, but I held it out just in case. And as Shane in all caps put on the stream, and I cooked dinner. I will give her credit for this. She did clean up the dishes after dinner, which was appreciated.
Which she always does, but you're trying to make it sound like that she never does.
I didn't do any of that. My fiance is an amazing person. I would change nothing about her ever. I love her dearly. Except when she drinks warm sodas, which is the behavior of a psychopath. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more read and then we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
said
I blew
water.
that. I said water. I drink water warm.
Excuse me. Where's your water?
But cold drinks are just objectively better.
I'm guessing, people who drink hot coffee or tea would disagree with you. Man, you killed that quick.
It wasn't up against the wall, so it was I didn't have a
I was just talking
I didn't have a
about
backboard.
how fast you drank it, so it couldn't have been cold.
Oh, it was cold and delightful. Happy Thursday, Zach. Welcome in, big dog. It was room temperature, but room temperature is warm.
But it's not. It's not, because you have air conditioning. That's why when he asked earlier about it never gets that cold.
The term
mean,
relative matters. Some things are relative.
Which is what you're about to be with a psychopath or someone you call a psychopath.
No, I said she displayed psychopathic behavior. That is
okay.
different.
Okay, you're right. We all have some crazy.
We all
in us.
display psychopathic
It doesn't
behavior.
mean we're crazy. Just
Correct.
to, have moments.
One can act crazy without being crazy.
One can also be crazy while acting crazy. And some people are crazy right under your nose and you don't notice. Like that quiet guy down the hall. He has suspicions, but he's actually a little bit of, he has collages on his wall. You can't trust somebody with collages on their wall, especially clipped from newspapers. What if he gets kicked out again?
Be a little trouble this time.
Maybe.
You guys know that I follow betting patterns. I think you can learn a lot based on what fans do on the betting market and how Vegas responds to those things. With that being said, Nick Bromberg, college football reporter for Yahoo Sports, has been doing the same. He went and he took a gander at where the public is putting their belief in the 2024 national championship winners before the season gets here. Now, yesterday, and we can talk about this a little bit more at length if we wish, because it is a bit interesting. Yesterday, the College Football Playoff Committee put out the dates for the first 4 games. That is the games of the top 4 spots. The first 8 teams to play a playoff game. Those dates are December 20th and 21st. That is a Friday and a Saturday. There will be 1 game played on Friday evening with an 8 p.m. kick time. There will be 3 games played on Saturday, 1 at noon, 1 at 4, and 1 at 8 p.m. The Saturday games are interesting, great one, because do you know what else is going on that Saturday? Don't worry, I'll tell you. There are 2 NFL games on that Saturday, which means 2 of the 4 first college football games will be up and directly against NFL games. One of them, great one, is the Houston Texans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. You will have to get more TVs or utilize all your TVs, whatever the answer is there.
Or I'll watch the NFL game.
You will skip a college football playoff game for Kansas City, Houston.
Depends on who's playing in the college football game. I can also record it and watch it later because technology.
Oh, what if
Don't do it because it's not
What
going to
if
happen because they're getting a bye.
Michigan wins the Big Ten, Ohio State gets in, and the Buckeyes end up playing a playoff game at the same time as Kansas City versus
This
former
is easy.
Buckeye CJ Stroud?
This is easy. I will have to record the Kansas City game because Lisa will be watching the Ohio State game. And so I will be, if I want to watch on the big TV, I will be watching the college game if it's Ohio State.
Fair enough. Fair enough. By the way, unfortunately, have just found out that Rashad Beard is unavailable today. So we will move him to tomorrow. No Rashad Beard. Zoe and I will discuss the Panthers anyway, coming up in the next segment. No Rashad Beard today. He just let me know. So I'm assuming that means that he got that last minute call from Q.
Shane has accused me of being a 1%er. Yes, I use only 1% of my brain. Thank you.
So as far as the Ohio State Buckeyes, this is quite interesting. I get the betting odds, as I've mentioned on the show a number of times. BetMGM sends me a little compilation of the odds, where they start, where they are today, where the public money is coming in on, and where the popularity is coming in on. Right now, there is a school that has gotten 25% of the bets from the betting public. 25% of the bets, and it makes up over 35% of the money. Great one. What school is getting 25% of the number of bets and 35% of the dollars that are bet to win the national championship this year?
I feel like I'm being baited, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with the Ohio State Buckeyes.
That is correct.
And I am concerned about all that because I mean, who's the quarterback? The rest of the team's going to be good. Who's the quarterback? By the way, who's the quarterback? And I know it's got to transfer in, got someone who's been there for a couple of years also, but who's the quarterback?
If you are asking who the starting
yes,
quarterback
who is the starting quarterback?
Gotcha.
So I think it's wild how Ohio State is being projected to be so good. If you got a second or third year starter at quarterback, that's different. I get that, but in this
Your
case,
fifth string quarterback's name is Air Noland. How's that guy not the starter immediately, just on name alone? Air Noland.
there's also still a say in there, right? I think.
Yes, Julian Sayin
Yes.
is there,
Yes.
listed on the pre-spring depth chart. Will Howard is at the QB1 spot, Devin Brown QB2, Julian Sayin QB3, Lincoln Kienholz QB4,
That's a
and Air
linebacker
Nolan
name.
QB5.
Kienholz. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Lincoln's a quarterback.
That's true. That's true. So maybe he should just be a long snapper.
Either way, 25% of the bets, 35% of the money. This
Would
is
you
not
Would you put
Georgia.
money? Would you put money on that right now on Ohio State?
No.
I mean, and yes, that's my team, but I'm not sold till I know who the quarterback is and I see how he plays. I mean, they were pretty good last year and we didn't know who the quarterback was probably like 3 games in and lost to Michigan. But until that, they were undefeated. So I don't know.
It is interesting. It is interesting. Now, again, when it comes to the early bets, I've told you before, there's predominantly three ways to bet. You can bet very early, and you try to grab lines that you like before the public jumps on and they start moving. For instance, Ohio State opened as a plus 700 favorite. Today, they're plus 350. So the betting public has bet them down by half. By half. That's a huge jump for a team that has, at this point, not even gotten to seeing this team in pads yet, right? We had your spring game, sure. But your spring game is like your starters get a couple of minutes and then it's an NFL preseason game. I got to see what everybody else can do. So have the betting public go in on Ohio State to bet their odds down by half. 25% of the bets, 35% of the money is huge. And it makes me ask the question. Remember, I said, like, I like to find storylines within where the wagers are coming on. Can I tell you why I think the betting public has jumped in on this? I think the betting public has jumped in on this because there is at least a percentage of it, right or wrong. I think there's a percentage of it that kind of feels like this is a natty or bust season for Ryan Day.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that for a while, and it still hasn't happened. By the way, I looked up Lincoln Kienholz. This is a dude who plays a quarterback in a movie. I mean, he looks just like
literally, or he's got that vibe of coming of age teen movie.
Look him up. Look up Lincoln Kienholz, and the first pictures that come up, you're like, oh yeah, that guy's in the remake of Friday Night Lights.
Okay, fair enough. Is it though? Is this a boom or bust season for Ryan Day? Emphasis on the bust.
Well, the word on the street was that he'd be gone if he couldn't beat Michigan again, and he didn't, and he's still there. And thanks to transfer portal and people like Bo Jackson and other big names committing to Ohio State, there's a lot of hype. I don't remember this much hype in a while. Even last year when I believe they were number one a couple times during the season, and I don't remember this kind of hype. The hype scares me. Will they be good? Yeah. Will they be great? Probably. Will they be better than last year? I don't know, because it's really, I think the defense is going to be good. The receivers are always good. There's probably not, you would think, there's going to be a drop off. No Marvin Harrison Jr. But there's
it's going to be a drop off.
No, I don't think there will be.
From Marvin Harrison Jr.,
who was not the best receiver on the team a couple years ago.
Right, but I don't care about a couple of years ago. Like I don't care about refrigerators in the 1820s. I care about this year.
They are wide receiver U now, so I'm not worried about that part.
You do get a Mick Agbuka back. He's going to be a star. He's going to be a star
if he can stay healthy. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Kyle McCord, of course, transferred out. He's now at Syracuse. And so you bring in Will Howard. Will Howard is a former Kansas State QB and was pretty good over there. He is the presumptive starter. You got Quinshon Judkins back there. You've got he is a former Ole Miss running back, 2,700 yards across 2 seasons with Ole Miss. You team him up with Travion Henderson, that is the best running back duo in America. You got Agbuka. You added Caleb Downs from Alabama to the defensive backfield. You got Jack Sawyer back there. He's coming back from a good year last year for the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are the number 2 odds-on favorite to only Georgia, but they've gone from 7-1 to 3.5-1. Georgia's plus 325. Ohio State nipping at the heels of the Georgia Bulldogs right now. But here's the thing. Ohio State's got 25% of the bets, 35% of the money. Georgia's got 12% of the bets and 16% of the money. That means, ballparking it, half of the people are making the bets on Georgia that they are on the Buckeyes, and they are betting less money while they are doing it. The Buckeyes, third most popular team, by the way, Texas at 7-1, 8% of the bets, 8% of the money on that team. No other team is better than 10-1. That's where you find Oregon, Alabama, 14-1 in your top 5. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Did you look up Lincoln Kienholz?
No, but I'm about to.
He reminds me of
something. Dude, he absolutely is. He's the dude who stands up the homely girl for prom night because the head cheerleader asked him last minute. All right, guys, I'll be back in 45 seconds. Stay right there, please, and thank you.
Sam Darnold frat bro.
Yeah, he really does.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer.
It sounds arrogant if I say, well, Ohio State's going to be good because they're always good, but they are always good. So I just don't know that. I'm worried about the hype this time.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions.
I want to see if Alabama drops off with no Nick Saban. There's just a lot of
I mean, the talent is still
Stories.
there. Rob, did you give the salted oranges a try? No, I did not, because we ended up doing, you know what I found yesterday? Chickpea pasta. So pasta made from chickpeas, from plants. And it was freaking delicious. Like, I was real apprehensive about it, but I'm like, I'd like to get pasta. You know, I can't just eat pasta right now.
Did
So I found
you
chickpea pasta.
sauce? Is there sauce?
Did use a vegan marinara sauce, and it was surprisingly delicious.
Okay, isn't all sauce
No.
vegan?
No,
Why is it?
because I'm a meat sauce guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
All
meat
right.
sauce guy.
Okay, but that's not actual meat in the meat sauce, unless you put meat in it. I'm just talking about if you grab you some ragu and it says
I made that.
beef.
I made
It-
that.
yeah.
I can have lean ground beef, so like ground beef with like less than
So ground chuck.
Yeah, basically. So I browned up a bunch of super lean ground beef. I made a vegan, I bought a vegan marinara. I boiled up some chickpea pasta and put it together. And it wasn't spaghetti and meat sauce, but it was more than good enough.
So you can't go with like wheat spaghetti.
I can, but that is carb loaded
Okay.
versus the chickpea, which is not as carby.
Okay.
We had a texter when Zoe said, "Who's the starting quarterback?" We had a texter that wrote back, "Kyle McCord." I texted back and said, "No, remember he transferred to Syracuse." And the texter responded with, "Yeah, that's right. Learning of the great ice snob fiasco has me out of sorts." Ice snob fiasco?
Yeah, you're
Ice snob? Wanting ice is like the least snobby thing, dude. Sorry.
No, I mean,
Sorry.
I mean, your frozen arrogance is obvious.
No. Listen, there's a lot that goes on in my life that you can go ahead and say I'm snobby about. I will not wear sunglasses that are not quality sunglasses. All right. I like my peepers. I'd like to keep them in working order. I spend the money on good sunglasses. Dress shoes, I spend money on good dress shoes. I am snobby about my dress shoes. Ain't no doubt about that. All right. There are things in my life I'm absolutely snobby about. Toilet paper is one of them. I will tell you right now, I tell people all the time, if you really want to find out if a prospective employer cares about their employees, don't listen to the pitch they give you when they're trying to hire you, because they're going to tell you, "Oh, we love our people, we love our employees." And most places are lying. You are expendable to them. If you want to find out if a place of employment truly cares about you, ask to use the restroom and go see what kind of toilet paper they're rocking.
All
If
right,
it is, if you can see your fingers through the toilet paper, they do not care about their employees.
It doesn't apply here though, because that room gets so much work that you're costing yourself a lot of money and expenditures for restroom products.
True, but
So you got to go thinner.
just so we're very
And,
clear,
and some people go, well, let's clog up the toilet and put a
We-
bunch of thick toilet paper in there and flush it. So
we
yeah.
have adequate bleep tickets here at the station. Okay, we have adequate TP here at the station. All right. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to blow smoke. As much as I love working here, it's adequate. It is not above and beyond. I appreciate places that go above and beyond. But if you want to know if a place really cares about their employees, ask to go to the restroom, check out the TP, and you will find out if they really care about their employees more than they care about saving the nickels and the dimes here and there. That's the number one way to do it.
I'm not trying to kill your analogy, but I'm right about that. Think how much money you save if you go with thinner toilet paper here.
I agree. We have the poop stall situation here at the Radio Ranch is sometimes so egregious that we can't help but talk about it on the air. Like the time I opened the door and found somebody in there with a banana on the ground while actively number twoing. It's out of control sometimes with the morning zoo we run around here. And yet we still have adequate TP, and I appreciate
By the way, the afternoon is much more refined. But
I have not worked late enough to know that. All I can tell you is
it's all those animals on WORD.
The mornings we deserve hazard pay.
Those guys are out of control.
All right. Let's get to some Carolina Panther talk here for just a minute. Have you gotten to, and are you going to watch the Blueprint series that the Panthers put up on YouTube?
Saw it yesterday, started to click on it and decided not to. For nerd reasons, not for any other reasons.
For nerd reasons, like you had better things to do.
Well, the right next to it was the 20 best Jedi of all time. So, I mean, it was a yesterday thing, and it's not technically football season. And you know what? Matt Rule put on good videos with that and all, so they can. And I know a guy who works there. They do good work as far as putting the production together. But I don't know if it's an adequate depiction of what the team's going to be. So they can. I mean, you can make it look really good, but until they get out on the field.
So.
I apologize for the negativity.
That's okay. That's what you do around here. You're the team pessimist.
By the way, Shane, Yoda was the number one Jedi.
I'm going to push back on that because I am going to say that a lot of what led up to the Clone Wars was caused by the fact that I think Yoda got a little high and mighty, and I think a lot of the Jedi at that time, outside of Qui-Gon, kind of started sniffing their own farts a little bit, started getting a little what's the word I'm looking for? Self-righteous. And I think a lot of what led to the rise of Palpatine happened because the Jedi were so busy touting how amazing they were that all of this happened quite literally with the exception of Yoda, who it happened right over their noses.
Well, I agree.
That's a real good joke, by the way.
But yeah, it was. And a short joke during the Panther segment is perfect. The thing is, though, when 800 years you are.
I mean, again, listen, if you are at the point where the greatest threat to the galaxy can take place 10 feet away from you and you don't notice it, then maybe it's time. You know what Yoda was? Yoda was the old people who refused to acknowledge maybe it's time to stop driving. Maybe you're a danger to society behind the vehicle, behind the wheel of a vehicle.
Well, when you have hundreds of years of peace, and peace is pretty much all the majority of the people who are Jedi know, maybe it's easy to slip things, past them.
You still failed. Even if you succeeded for a very long time. If you failed, you failed. And Yoda failed. Qui-Gon was the only one in the entire Jedi Order at that point that looked around and said, maybe we're getting a little full of ourselves here, guys. Maybe we should reel it back a little bit.
I think Qui-Gon was like at 6 or something like that. Can't remember. He was pretty high. So
I'd say, honestly, I'd put Qui-Gon Jinn over Yoda. The only reason Qui-Gon tanks is because he got smoked by Darth Maul. But if we're being honest, Darth Maul was likely the best fighting Sith Lord, with the exception of Lord Vader himself.
So Obi-Wan cut him in half. Yeah.
Yeah, but remember how Obi-Wan cut him in half. Obi-Wan got him.
He snuck him.
By pretending to fight the same fight that Qui-Gon fought, which Darth Maul smoked Qui-Gon. and he fell for it. So maybe that's a knock against Darth Maul as much as it is a knock against Qui-Gon for getting smoked by Darth Maul. Either way, if we were going with if we put a definitive ranking of all Force users, Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, both inside the top 10. Easy.
All right. Did you notice that we went off into it?
Yeah, we blew a segment.
So now you know why I pushed the button. Because you probably would.
Yeah, it's fair.
You probably would have done the same thing.
Exactly what happened just now. So, by the way, Rashad Beard joining us tomorrow on the radio broadcast. Joey said Mace Windu was the number one Jedi. No, he can't be for the exact same reason that Yoda can't be. Mace Windu was right there hand in hand with Yoda sniffing his own farts when Darth Sidious rose to power.
There was a lot of arrogance. And the thing is, when Mace walked in there, he walked in there with 3 other Jedi who all got beat right away.
Yep.
And would he have been able to beat Palpatine? We don't know. Was Palpatine baiting him just to turn Anakin? We don't know.
I'm going to say the best you're going to get out of me there is a maybe. The best, because Windu had he had him pretty much beat.
He did.
He had him pretty much beat at that point. It took the number one Sith Lord of all time in Darth Vader to defeat Mace Windu. The problem is there is no Palpatine, there is no Anakin. If Mace and Yoda weren't high on their own supply about how amazing they are and allowed all this to happen, the whole time Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan going, hey dudes, maybe if you pull it back a little bit, we won't have an entire power battle. And they were right. They were right.
Well, you probably wouldn't have liked this list because Rey actually made the list.
I actually love Rey.
Okay.
I love Rey.
I think she was 16 or something like that.
I love Rey.
She was never properly trained. If she was properly trained, she probably would have.
She'd have been a total badass.
Yeah, a little bit higher.
She was able to beat a lot of really bad baddies without the formal training. Rey would have been at the top of the list if she didn't star in 1 good and 2 crappy movies.
All right. So what they said, and I believe it was Watch Mojo, because they're the ones that put a bunch of those things together, was blemishes against some of those Jedi were exactly what you said. And
they were in crappy movies?
No. Before that, they let things go on beneath their nose, and they were a little arrogant.
Yeah, they weren't a little arrogant. Honestly, the only reason Yoda was in exile in order to train Luke was because he was so arrogant. He let all of this happen under his watch. That's it.
If you never really truly experienced true evil, then maybe you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a problem of the number one Jedi running to Dagobah and then just hanging out in exile for years. Get it together, man. There are still pockets of resistance out there actively fighting, and you just built a little hobbit hut on a swamp and hid for 1,000 years. Yoda cannot be the number one Jedi.
He didn't hide for 1,000 years, but he hid for
a long ass time.
I think it was 20 years.
We went from Yoda in exile, I must go. And we didn't see him again until he was on death's door when Luke showed up. And we know how long Yoda lived. So a long time, right? He cannot be number one.
So what you're saying is you don't like Yoda because he's old.
No, I don't like Yoda because no. I like Yoda, but I think it is important, even in people you like, am I right, Kyrie Irving, to recognize their flaws and address them, and also to celebrate their victories. Yoda turning Luke into a master of the Force, which ultimately allowed for the defeat of Palpatine down the line, was a massive moment of celebration for Yoda for sure. But I think it is also important to recognize that Yoda's arrogance and his complete lack of attention to what was happening quite literally in the room was the reason there was a Palpatine in the first place.
By the way, if I recall, Luke, Anakin, and Obi-Wan were all top 5.
Anakin deserves to be in the top 5 as a Jedi, not forget his time as Vader. Anakin Skywalker, go watch the Clone Wars animated series. It'll really clue you in on this. Anakin as a Jedi was a total badass. You know who deserves to be in there? Although I don't think Ahsoka ever attained the title of Jedi Knight, right? She bailed before she got promoted.
She was on the list though, but I forget how high she was. She was definitely on the list.
If she's on the list, she's top 10. Without a doubt, she's top 10. Ahsoka Tano was a badass for sure. We were going to talk Carolina Panthers here. And instead, for the exact same reason that Lonzo did not watch the Blueprint YouTube video on the Panthers, which I didn't, by the way. We'll talk about it here in just a minute. But I felt like this was a very important conversation to have, and now fully understand why Lonzo did not watch the Blueprint series episode 1. Pretty good reason. So when we come back, we'll talk Carolina Panthers. Pete Carroll had something to say a few months ago about Dave Canales that I do think is important in light of having watched that YouTube video. We'll talk about that coming up in the next segment of the show. And Adam Thielen had something to say about the Panther facilities, which we will address coming up here in just a little while as well. All of that coming up soon. The Force Master of Sports Flashes is Jedi Lonzo.
See, that sounds more like Grandmaster Flash and not, you probably don't know who that is. It's a long time ago. The winning streak lasted just one game for the Atlanta Braves, who dropped a 9-0 decision to the Boston Red Sox last night. Ricky Spencer Schellenbach gave up 7 hits and 6 earned runs in 4.2 innings, while Atlanta's offense managed just 1 hit on the day, going a combined 1 for 28. The Oklahoma Sooners are a step closer to a college softball championship for Pete after it's a 4 in a row and 8-3 win over Texas in Game 1 of the Women's World Series Championship. 3 different Sooners had home runs, and the Sooners had 9 hits in the contest while holding the Longhorns to just 4. And make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And neither one of them know what a Jedi is, but it's all Wire to Wire.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
It wasn't an article, Shane. It was a YouTube video. If you ever watch any Watch Mojo videos, they just do a bunch of nerd rankings of a ton of different things. And it just, when you click on something on YouTube or anything social media, the algorithm starts feeding you that stuff. And I got a bunch of those on my YouTube. And we were getting ready to watch The Acolyte anyway, so it's like, okay, let's go ahead and get in a Star Wars mood.
Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of your joint pain? This is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Charlie James. Don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. Give them a call today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, so you can walk and run and hike and play golf and move again pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Scheinman, a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. So stop putting it off. Take action now. Live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're at 864-448-37.
That's hilarious. So at the Blue Wahoos game last night, guy hits a 3-run home run that is 5.5 feet, 6 feet over the wall, and a kid in the outfield caught it. Well, one of the umpires, doing his best Angel Hernandez impression, ruled it fan interference and ejected like an 11-year-old kid from the ballpark for catching a ball that was well over the yellow stripe. So the play-by-play announcer brought him up and said, "We are legally, by the rules of Major League Baseball, obligated to eject you from the ballpark. So consider yourself ejected after you sit in on the post-game show," and let the kid sit in on the radio call and got him a signed ball and everything. and they ejected him from the park after the post-game fireworks display that they put on.
So after the thing was over.
So
then-
after everything
yeah,
was over,
yeah.
they ejected him from the ballpark so that they lived up to the letter of the law. But before they ejected him, they brought him down on the field. The guy that hit the home run signed the baseball for him and let him keep it, and they gave him a jersey and free tickets to the next game. That's hilarious. I love that. That's how you win fans. Yeah, I just saw the Winter Warrior Icy Whites that the Vikings put out. I don't hate them. I don't like them, but I don't hate them. I'm kind of like in the air on them.
Haven't they worn those before? I'm looking at them.
All whites? I
Yeah.
don't think they've worn all whites
I'm
before.
pretty sure. For some reason, I think Randy Moss when I see that, but I could be wrong.
I know a lot of teams have done all whites. I didn't think Minnesota may have. I just don't remember it if they do. Here's the all whites for those of you that have not seen them. I really they've.
I mean, it's just white
I think what it
uniforms
is.
with purple letters.
I'll tell you what it is.
mean,
I think it's having the.
Oh, the
horns
helmets are
still be
sweet.
white.
The helmets.
See, I don't like the horn. The horn should be purple because the numbers are purple, right? The numbers on the jersey are solid purple.
Well, they're outlined in purple.
Right. They should be, if they were solid purple or if they kept the yellow horns, I think I'd be better with it. Like there's the full view.
That, Shane, is just, it's all been a pack of lies.
Here we go. Final hour of the Rob Brown Radio. It's the Dak Prescott. Final hour of the radio show starts now. It is Rob and the Great One Lonzo with you. 844-326-3663. That is the number to be a part of the show on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. 844-326-3663. You may text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. And what else? What else? Oh, tweet me or X me or post me or whatever you want to do to me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate if you want to get to everybody up in here. Texter says, wrong. 2 Sith can destroy a legion of Jedi. You're not wrong. That's why the Sith had the rule of 2. You're not wrong about it.
Remember, one bad apple can spoil the entire.
I mean, it's like every Sith gets murdered by the next Sith. That's why they can't make. If the Sith would stop murdering each other, they would have owned the galaxy in like 10 minutes. But they just kept killing each other. Darth Vader has more Jedi, Grand Inquisitor, and Sith kills in total. Again, if we're doing a Sith/Jedi ranking, Darth Vader is number 1. He just is. And that's not true. If you go deep into the canon, there's a couple of previous Sith Lords that would probably wipe the floor with Vader.
Yeah, you can throw in like really like old Republic stuff like Darth Revan and some guys like that from video game lore and comic books and things. And yeah, it's a big universe.
If you stick with canon, Darth Plagueis, I think, could beat Vader. I think Darth Bane could beat Vader. So I'd say they're on the list. Texture said GTFO with Ahsoka being top 10. She had little to no force power. First off, yes, she did.
I can't remember if she was top 10. She was top 20.
I would say, again, like Ahsoka had great training from Anakin and Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan was still technically training Anakin even after he was... Even obviously, but leading up to the Clone War, we can't do this again, can we? Yeah, we can. And that was while Ahsoka Tano
Don't
was
look at me
technically
like
Anakin's Padawan.
For permission. I mean, do what you want to do.
But I also think that you keep in mind when Ahsoka got assigned to Anakin, Anakin did not want a Padawan. He did not want to train. And even though he got close to Snips over the years, I do not think that Anakin, always internally conflicted, ever really truly gave Ahsoka Tano the full training that would have brought out the best that she could have been. She had to go learn that on her own, and when she did, she started wiping the floor with everybody. Texture says Bill Brooks may be an undercover Jedi. That's fair. That's more than fair.
No, I can picture him on the meditation couch or whatever that thing was that they would sit. What was that thing? They were like raised ottomans or something that they set in for the council thing.
I just sat on ottomans.
Don't they, you know what I'm talking about though? They just I'm sure they're comfortable.
Scoot up the ottoman, you will. Rest on my footstool, you will. All right, let's get Carolina Panther stuff in here. A couple of things I wanted to get to. The comment from Adam Thielen that he made earlier this week. If you missed it, Adam Thielen said that Carolina has the worst facilities in the league, and he said that he thinks players from around the league would agree with that assessment. And a lot of Panthers fans kind of got up in the arms about it. Let us be very clear for just a moment here, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Thielen said this because Adam Thielen, as do all the Panthers, have a vested interest in the upgrades to the stadium being made, as Will Pelagic, voice of Charlotte FC and guy who covers the Panthers very closely for WFA, or not WFAN, for the Fan, I forget the call letters up in Charlotte, F&Z in Charlotte, pointed out that of the upwards of $1 billion in renovations, of which, by the way, I do think it needs to be mentioned that while Tepper Sports and Entertainment did ask for upwards of $85 million from the city of Charlotte to be taken out of tourism revenue, he is also fronting nearly the same amount out of the company as well. So $1 billion in upgrades and half of it being paid by the city. Willie P told us yesterday on the show that a large chunk of those renovations will be done to back of the house facilities, right? We're talking about locker rooms. We're talking about weight rooms. We're talking about all the things that you and I, you don't ever get to see. I do. My job's cool. You're talking about stuff that is player impact. So Adam Thielen has a vested interest. And on top of that, I think we know enough about Adam Thielen at this point to say that Adam Thielen is a team player. Adam Thielen is a company man. He's a corporate guy. And that's fine. That's good. That's how you keep yourself in the league until you're 40 years old.
Exactly what I thought when you said that, company man. It's exactly the words that popped into my head. So
for sure. Yeah. And I think that...
And who doesn't, when you're working somewhere, want things to be improved?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean...
For sure. The Great One and I hit Captain America Chris Evans down the hall like weekly with like, can we blank? Can we do this? Can we add that? Can we change this?
You know, I'm still upset when a long time ago, before we moved into this building, they sent out an email and asked, what would you like to be in the new building?
Sure.
And I wanted cup holders.
I immensely respect it. If I get a cup holder right here.
And they laughed it off, but cup holders would be perfect.
Game changer. We can just come in here and screw a couple into the desk.
Well, we could ask engineering now, be like, although
Chris,
hey, studios are about to be redone.
It's also true.
Cup holders could still happen.
I am still banging the drum to get my touchscreen monitor for the soundboard, right? Because I'll tell you right now, the amount of that you guys will get if I can just reach up and touch the button will go through the roof.
You don't need one of those.
You take the L away. You put a W there, baby.
You'll break the screen, dude.
You're picking up chicks. That's why you're hanging with chicks all night long.
You'll break the screen.
I don't know.
I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Yeah, you guys can't keep ring lights and tripods over there. You will break a screen.
Oh, yeah. I would have so much more of that, right? So the point here is, if you, as a company man, Adam Thielen, if you can get yourself some new facilities, you get those new facilities, you get those upgrades, you get those clean upgrades. So no, I'm not particularly worried about nor changing my opinion or impression of what is happening based on Adam Thielen's take that the Carolina Panthers have the worst facilities in the league and that players from around the league would agree with him. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know for a fact. I can't tell you. I can tell you I've seen the Carolina Panther player facilities behind the scenes. I can't tell you how they compare to 31 other teams. I can tell you how they compare to like 4 or 5. I can tell you how do they compare to New Orleans. I can compare them to Tampa. I can compare them to Atlanta. And that's pretty much, well, actually not even Atlanta because I haven't seen them since they upgraded theirs. So I don't know is the answer. What I'm doing is, of course, Adam Thielen said those things. But what I said yesterday, and I had this conversation off the air with Cole Money, with C Money. I said, Diesel, because Diesel's on the warpath about David Tepper. Has been for like a while. And I get it. I understand it. If you are looking at it through solely the lens of David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, it doesn't look great. You got the drink throwing incident. You got the interfering with the offense. You got his wife making personnel decisions. He absolutely does. He abso-freaking-lutely does. He's got a lot of the traces of behavior of a owner that draws ire from guys like Diesel. And again, I'm not even saying it's not justified, that it shouldn't be something you hold against Tep. But I've said I think we as a country have lost the ability to deal with nuance. And I'm gonna use that in a discussion we're gonna have coming up in the next segment about the dub. Oh no, we got Fight Club coming up next, so I gotta get that in here as well. So in the last segment in a conversation we're gonna have about the dub. Bank of America Stadium is the home stadium of the Carolina Panthers. It is not only the home stadium of the Carolina Panthers. It is also the home stadium of Charlotte FC, an organization that is bringing in more fans more consistently than the Carolina Panthers are. Shocking, I know. It is also the home of like a couple dozen major music concerts every single year. Garth Brooks was there in the last 12 months, right? So there's a lot more to it than just, oh, you want $1 billion in upgrades for 8, 9, 10 Saturdays or Sundays a season. Not really. There's a lot of reasons that they want those upgrades. But I'll give you the reason why. Unless you are against it from the standpoint of taxpayer money, I'm going to say taxpayer money being spent on a project. I would like to point out, that is, Will Pelagic pointed out yesterday, and I told you before that, money for projects like this. This is the big fight we've had about getting the Greenville Triumph their new stadium, right? A project that I think the Greenville and Greenville County should absolutely be fallen over backwards to undertake. My own personal opinion is that the tax dollars that go into a project like this, most of the time, those dollars are taken out of a hospitality tax. That is taxes on hotel rooms, taxes in restaurants, taxes in gift shops, whatever. And it's not to say it will have no impact on you, sure. But the majority of the taxes are taking from tourist-specific revenue streams. You are getting out-of-towners to pay for this, mostly and most of the time. The proposed partnership between Charlotte and Tepper Sports and Entertainment, which, by the way, would also ensure at a point in time where you've got teams all over the place. It's happening to Lonzo's team right now. The Chiefs and the Royals are threatening Kansas City with departure if they don't get their stadiums upgraded, if Arrowhead doesn't catch a bill in renovations. They've both told the city of Kansas City, yo, if you don't help us get these stadiums upgraded, we're out, dog. We'll go somewhere that they will. If this agreement is signed and a hospitality tax pays for the upgrades and the renovations to the stadium, Carolina is locked in for at least 15 more years. They are locked into the city for 15 years. The deal is for 20. Dave Tepper can pay off the remaining debt at 15 and leave if he wants. I don't think he wants. I think he wants to be there. I think he wants the team there. But I also know that, and I've projected this for a while, as teams are more and more willing to throw departure from a city as a gambling chip on the table, I think you will start to see other cities that will start to make a phone call. Hey, Chiefs, If they won't build you Arrowhead, what if we dedicate a Billy to getting you a new stadium out here? We'll go state of the art. We'll go SoFi Stadium. We'll go Jerry Jones World for you if you'll bring your club here. And while it is easy for us as fans to say, oh, my team would never, this team would never, the owner would never. As I pointed out, that while there are many owners who I think truly love their ball club, you are a fool if you think that these things are not investments for their owners. They do not have, with a few rare exceptions, Mark Cuban being one of them, they do not have the level of passion and fanship for the teams that the fans do. It is a different reality for them. For them, it's a money printing machine. Maybe they love the team, but they own the team to make money off the team. None of them own the team because they enjoy going to the park on a Sunday. They own the team because it makes them a buttload of money, right? So if you think it's worth it, you lock up Carolina for at least 15, at most 20, with the option to extend that down the line, and you're getting it out of tourist revenue, primarily, not exclusively, then maybe it's a good deal. But there is a football reason for doing this, and that football reason is, let's call it what it is. Charlotte, despite being a major city, is a small market team for the NFL. It is a small market team for the NFL that has zero, not a 9, none primetime games this year. Do you think that it's easy for Carolina to make an argument to get a free agent to come down if Kansas City is courting them? If Dallas is courting them? If either LA team is courting them? No, it's real tough, or theoretically it would be. You've got a state income tax that you've got to pay. You're not going to be playing in prime time nearly as often as you would if you were in LA or Dallas or New York. So to have the ability to say, we have got the nicest player facilities in the league, that is a pro on the pro-con list of why a free agent might elect to come play down in Charlotte. Again, I'm not taking a side on it. I'm just laying out what the argument's going to be. Texter said, the ICE snob is defending the hedge fund billionaire and the wealthiest NFL owner. Shocking. I don't need to go too far down this path. But if Lonzo wanted to tell you the way that I talk about billionaires off the air, he could. He could. I'm not a fan. You ready? I'll go hot take. I don't think billionaires should exist. I think once you reach $999 million, you've set the high score, you're done. You can't have any more money. You're not allowed to have any more. We got too much stuff we need to take care of.
Now Liber Rob the socialist?
No.
Okay.
I'm Liber Rob the capitalist with limitations. Okay? There should be limitations. Because, much like with major companies, we're seeing this happen all over the place, where mom and dad restaurants are shutting down constantly because the block chains that have $1 billion come in and just run everybody else the hell up out of the market. The issue with unregulated capitalism is that at some point it leads to a monopoly. By definition, that is the end goal of neo-capitalism, is a monopoly. At the end, that's how you get oligarchs when it's all said and done.
Wow. Way to work in oligarchs.
Good job. Good at this.
Good job.
So no, I do not defend billionaires. In fact, quite the opposite. I don't like billionaires. I don't think billionaires should exist. And for anybody that's out there going, you don't want to, you're never going to be a billionaire. Okay? Unless you are under the age of 20, none of you listening are ever going to be a billionaire. It's not going to happen. You can't be anything you want. Sorry. Welcome to the real world, kids. In fact, of the people under 20, if there's a future billionaire listening right now, there's a future billionaire listening right now. The other problem is that the more that those people hoard onto the money, the less money there is out there for you to become a billionaire. That's the game. That's the system we work in. So, Texter, you want to call me an ice snob? I'll come at you, bro, with the Liber Rob the Woke Warrior stuff. All right. What I'm saying is this: if the Carolina Panthers are going to get that $650+ million from the city of Charlotte, those are the arguments for it. Those are the arguments why it would make the football team better. It is about free agency. It is about putting on a show. It is about becoming a more traveled to NFL stadium. And if you think that people won't travel just for a stadium, I point down to Arlington, Texas. I point down to New Orleans, Louisiana, places that make millions, if not billions a year based on people to either come see their stadium or come see their city. Charlotte does not have the tourism attractiveness that New Orleans does. It also does not have the stadium appeal that Dallas Arlington does. Do you want to have a team that is drawing, that is bringing money to the city? Oh, and by the way, can get free agents because the facilities are nice? You buy in. Do you want not for that? And potentially Tep, who has been rumored to have thought about moving the team in years gone by, to do that? Then don't. I respect whoever decides to make whatever decision they make. Fight Club with the Great One is next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
All right, Steven, I had to do a double take because I'm like, what? And I just looked them up. They do actually exist. So if I can find them when I go grocery shopping, definitely going to get them.
Oh, God, no. No.
It might be good. You don't know.
No, I don't know. Nope.
So I'm predicting if I do get them, that people will smell them before they taste them, which I always think is weird. Do you smell before you taste something?
Yes.
That's just, I think that's weird. I don't think you're a psychopath for doing it. That would be a Rob way of thinking. But I do say it's very odd, especially when you do it in a restaurant. I just painted the walls. I painted the walls white. When I painted the walls white, I stood back and I looked at the white walls. As I looked at the white walls, I thought the walls are very white. I'm Lonzo.
TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution.
Really? You saw him at Spinks, Steven. Okay. I don't know. Do I put it off because there's no Cameron this weekend? I'd hate for him to miss out on such an opportunity. Matthew might literally get ill, which, you know. And they probably already have them in Ireland, but still, yeah.
Online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379. 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax relief advocates, real solutions for real people.
Did you know Greenville County Animal Care has cats and dogs just waiting to find their forever family? When you adopt from Greenville County Animal Care, you're getting an animal who has been spayed or neutered, is microchipped, and is up to date on vaccinations. Most pets can be brought home.
Sydney Sweeney is buying a new oceanfront home in South Florida. Just in case you wanted to know.
I want to be rich.
But not a billionaire because you know you're anti-billionaire. But you know. I thought it was 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, but that was just a Paula Abdul song. Maybe that's not who I should be. 2
steps forward, 2 steps back means you're just in the same.
You're not doing anything. Not
2 steps forward, 1 step back means that you're getting somewhere very slowly. 1 step forward, 2 steps back means you're actually getting worse. even though you're feigning progress. Feigning is a good word.
Yeah, so I was going to say, way to go.
Feigning is a good word.
Feigning. Now he needs to go ubiquitous just because. Well, welcome into the Fight Club, where I will not use the word ubiquitous because I was trying to think of a way to work it in. But since I don't really know what it means, probably not a good idea. Because if I did know what it means, I would be ubiquitous.
It means obvious, clear. Like, for instance, it is
See what I did? You hear
ubiquitous.
Did you hear what I did there? Because I said if I did, then it would be. Never mind.
No, I was.
It's okay.
I was trying to prepare to help you out.
Yeah, you're gonna educate me, but
Yes.
but I appreciate that.
That's my role in life.
All right, so apparently
educate and
I
enlighten.
did know what it meant, but I wasn't sure until you started. Hey, it says Robert on your hat.
It does. This is my. I've heard. Have I told you the story about how
I've
my
been,
dad?
I've been
benched
sitting
me?
here for 3 hours and 24 minutes or whatever, and I just now noticed.
I've told you the story about how my dad benched me for
Yeah.
wearing my hat backwards.
Yeah.
This hat,
Okay,
literally this hat.
and you were wearing it backwards too.
Yeah. Shalimar Little League,
Way to go.
circa 19.
Dude, did your head just not grow?
7? No, I had a big ass head when I was a kid. I was like JD McDonough when I was a kid.
Funko Pop head. Okay, all right. I don't know if you knew this.
It's not true. I was tall. I was just skinny as hell.
All right, I got you. There is a PLE this weekend. Did you know that?
I did.
Did you know that? It is NXT Battleground. I am looking forward to this because it's going to be in the UFC complex in Vegas. But usually the fights there are they don't seem very loud because it doesn't seem to seat as many people.
I was gonna say I think it only seats like 100 people.
No, I think it seats 1,000.
Is it that big?
I think it does. I think a lot of the seats are in the dark. They just don't show you the seats like they do in the bigger places where they're at. But anyway, this is going to be interesting for a couple reasons. First of all, we are going to pick this not for Nerf Wall, but
it is 1,000.
Yeah, we're going to pick this not for Nerf Wall because I'm short some people this weekend, and that would be unfair. But we want to see if I'm better than Rob when it comes to this because he hasn't been watching as much.
There
NXT.
it is.
Yeah, it's everything's competition. Like the fact that Rob is going to lose again this week to not turning his microphone on.
Was it 1-0?
Yeah.
1-0 on Thursday?
Yeah, on Thursday.
I got time. Plenty of time.
Do you?
Plenty
Okay.
of time.
All right.
Plenty of time.
So the first match.
I'm like the Clemson baseball of turning my mic on and off.
I
I just save it up for the bottom of the ninth.
I would hit the kitten sound now, but I'm lazy. NXT Underground match. I'm looking forward to this match. It is Shayna Baszler versus Lola Vice. Both of them former UFC fighters. So how real are they going to let this get, Rob?
Do they put this in an octagon just for the
Well, it's
loss?
underground, so there's not going to be it's an underground
Okay,
match.
so they're taking the
no
ropes down.
Yeah, no ropes.
They did one of those not too long ago with Lola and Natalya. The only issue that you have with an underground without the ring ropes is how often running the ropes is used as a way to stretch out the match, to set up moves, whatever. And having the lumberjacks out there, to me, it kind of killed the vibe of what they were trying to accomplish a little bit.
I don't think they're doing that in this. I think it's just them and a referee. And we've seen other underground matches where it's just them and a referee. I know what you're talking about, but this is more like a grudge match, more closer to a UFC fight.
I agree, which is why, like, honestly, if they want to sell me on this, put it in an octagon, right? Like, you own the octagon, throw it in there, let them do a feigned shoot MMA fight as a professional wrestling match.
I believe some actual punchers are going to be thrown in this.
I could see could see the two because they're both badass women, right?
They
like
are.
I did when Lola Vice showed up, I genuinely did not know her background. Like I didn't know anything about her MMA career. Obviously I knew about Shayna Baszler's. I really think that if you are going to have, because we've seen Brock and Roman go in there and actually throw a couple of real hands for the sake of increasing the intensity a little bit. But if you're gonna feign a genuine MMA fight, having two MMA fighters, like who's going to know better how to make an MMA punch look real than an MMA, and who's going to make it look like they've taken a real punch better than a former MMAer. Shayna Baszler wins this one.
Yeah, I got Shayna too, but it wouldn't shock me if it went the other way.
It wouldn't shock me.
Because Lola is getting a big push in NXT just for her look and some things that she can do with parts of her body.
Lola Vice got a badonkadonk,
she
as
does,
the kids say.
and she shakes that thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what she does. All right, NXT North American Championship match, Obafemi versus Wes Lee versus Joe Coffey. I think they put Joe Coffey in this just because they were uncertain how they could get Wes Lee to win this against Obafemi. And Obafemi is a guy I don't think spends too long down in NXT.
That dude's a badass.
Now, if Vince McMahon was there, he would have already been moved up. But I think he's had to get better at his craft, and you could do a lot of things with him on the main roster. So I'm going to go with Wes Lee to win this.
I think I'm going to agree. There is a title change happening here. The only question is it Lee or is it Coffey? Wes Lee coming back from his injury, obviously he was a fan favorite before he left, and that promo he cut on why he had to leave, where he's like, it's killing me to stand here, but I had to do it. Like, even I was like, damn, it's pretty good, right? Like, this is pretty emotional.
Yeah, but he actually had to have spinal.
Oh, for sure. It was no joke.
Parts removed.
Yeah, it was no joke. There's a part of me, not enough to change my pick. There's a part of me that thinks that they let Joe Coffey move. The fact that you brought the Gallus boys back, you've started having them do some stuff backstage. And ordinarily, if you're getting beat people up backstage, Heat, yeah, it means you're about to do something. So there is a little part of me that wants to say they put the strap on Coffey and let Coffey be Lee, be a little bit of a runaround for Wes Lee to kind of work his way back. Because I get worried that you brought him back from a pretty major surgery and then you just make him champ again. So I almost want to say Joe Coffey, but I can't talk myself into it. I'll go Wes Lee.
All right. A few years ago, Charlotte Flair sat right over there, and I asked her about women's tag team championships, and she played it off like that she didn't think it was going to happen. And like 2 weeks later, there were women's tag team championships. There should have been more belts for women until this point, but now there is going to be a new belt. It's the NXT Women's North American Championship. Looking forward to this match. It's Sol Ruca versus Lash Legend versus Jada Parker versus Fallon Henley versus Kalani Jordan versus Michin.
Sol Ruca.
I was going to say, me too.
It's not this. I don't even really have to think about this one. This one seems easy. She has been, since she returned from her injury, she has been unbelievable.
I forget. Is it a Soul Stealer? I'm trying to remember.
Soul Snatcher.
Soul Snatcher.
Which is so badass looking,
it's
too.
It's a cool move.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've never seen. It is rare. Like, ordinarily, finishers are just, they're a modified something. They're a modified this, modified that. You know, Cody Cutter is obviously just a modified springboard stunner or you know, whatever cutter. Most finishers are just a modified version of a standard move. I have never seen anything like the Soul Snatcher. I don't think she's missed it yet. She's super fluid. On top of all of that, like, I wasn't a Sol Ruca fan in the first run.
I was, but it got even better when she came back because she changed her look a little bit.
Since she came back, she's more marketable into now. The type of chick that a young beach bum Rob Brown would have chased around for years before getting the hint that she didn't want anything to do with me. I am a massive fan of this version of Sol Ruca. The only player in this game that I could see pulling the upset is Michin, but I'm going to go Sol Ruca on the pick.
Yeah. Who do you want to put the first belt of this type, this first championship? Who do you want to put it on?
And that's why I got to go Sol Ruca. She's the biggest star they got right now in that division.
Yes. And should be if she stays healthy for a long time.
Yep.
NXT Tag Team Championship
By the way,
match.
bad guy Fallon Henry is.
Yeah, she's not bad, but I think they're going to waste it. NXT Tag Team Championship match. Axiom and Nathan Frazier are the champs going up against the OC. OC beat them up in the merch thing,
trailer,
and got kicked out of the building. OC has to win this. I mean, because they're down there actually getting to wrestle, something they weren't doing on the main roster. You got to give them the belt, don't you?
I don't think you gotta. I don't think you gotta. This might be where we part ways. And for the record, this is my like least confident pick on the card. Okay, because I can write you a great story going either direction. OC gets the belts. They work for a little while. They get better. Maybe this gives them the little bit of a bump they need to go back up to the main roster. I think they got bumped because for a while there was a flurry of tag team activity on the main roster, but a lot of those are starting to get split up now. So I think there's room for them to come back up. So do you give them the belt, let them run with it for a little while, and then have Frazier and Axiom come back, take it off them, then bump them up? Or do you utilize this as a way to reset the OC? And I am going to say right now, this is my least confident pick on the card, but I'm going to say Axiom and Frazier retain right now. They are over with the crowd. The crowd seems to like them. And at this point, especially when I think you're about to see a flurry of bad guys doing some stuff down there, I think they keep the tag team titles face right now.
I got to say, this is a very good PLE, especially for NXT.
I like this card a lot.
All right, 2 more matches left. NXT Women's Championship match, Roxanne Perez versus Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, who is TNA Knockouts champion, and when she came out and actually wrestled a match Tuesday, that's the day that's on, she turned around and she had NXT NA on the back of her shirt. Jordynne Grace is going to win this.
I completely agree. Now, it is not just because.
And by the way, I can't stand Roxanne Perez's character. I just don't like it. It doesn't work for her.
I don't disagree. I just don't think she's there. I don't think she's ready to take on being that caliber heel right now. I agree with that. There's another reason aside from that, though, that you would allow, if you're WWE, you would allow NXT's belt to leave the show. Leave the show. It would go over to TNA for a while. I think, number one, at this point, I'm happy to say, I think there's a budding relationship there. I think what AEW is doing with Ring of Honor, and by the way, if you're not a Ring of Honor guy, a Ring of Honor has maybe been better than Dynamite the last few weeks. Like, it's real good. I think there's a relationship happening between TNA and NXT that moves forward, number one. Number two, Grace announced an open challenge for the Knockouts title that comes a week after Battleground. The next weekend, she is doing an open challenge at a TNA PLE. And so I think what you do is you can send the NXT belt away for 1 week. So I think you let it go. She carries it over to TNA. They get the rub over there of having a double champ with another company's belt on their show. And then you can send Roxanne to go over to TNA and return the favor on her show. And now both shows get their time in the sun carrying each other's strap for a minute. All of that being said, Jordynne Grace could beat my ass, dude.
Yeah,
she is ridiculous, bro. I knew
probably
she was,
everyone in this building.
Yeah, like I knew she was in shape, but when she dropped the jacket, I was like, my God, that woman is a muscle mommy. Are you kidding me?
Muscle Mommy. That's a good name. All right, finally, and we're running late, so this will be the last thing we do. NXT Championship match between a guy who was just on with Paul Feinbaum, and that would be Trick Williams. I sent you the video. I didn't watch it yet, but I sent you the video. Trick Williams versus Ethan Page, who shows up from AEW, and as part of his contract, his very first match is for the belt. What a good move for Ethan Page, and it's also a slap in the face to AEW a little bit, I think, because they're saying this guy's this much of a star that we're going to bring him in and let him compete for the championship. But Trick Williams wins this.
Here's my question. Are they doing this as a shot to AEW because they believe that Ethan All Ego Page is really that guy? Or are they doing it just for the sake? Because I'll tell you right now, insulting someone for the sake of an insult is a real good way to make yourself look bad. Insulting someone because they deserve it is different. I don't know that Ethan Page is
when
him.
you're getting jabbed at a bunch, every once in a while, you just throw a jab back to say, hey, this is what you're asking for.
A wise man once said, turn the other cheek. Right? And especially if you are the big dog in the argument.
Which they have done many times.
If you are the big dog in an argument, you do not stoop to the people that are throwing tomatoes from the peon crowd, okay? What you do is you ignore it. You pretend like it's not happening. That being said, Ethan Page is winning this fight.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
All Ego is taking the strap off of Trick Willie. As much as now, Trick Willie will get it right back. It'll be a week or two, and he'll end up getting it back. But they're going to put the strap on Ethan Page for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like Trick. Trick was wild hot over with the crowd. Is it just maybe it's just me? Does it not feel like that has kind of slowed up a little bit in the last 2 weeks?
But there's been a little bit of a lull since WrestleMania and since that on a lot of things, and they have to build things back up.
I don't disagree. I feel like it now.
I don't think he and Lash Legends should part the way they said that they were going to. I like that. I think that's been a lot of fun. But
I don't know
we'll
if they
see.
do or don't. What I do know is it makes all of those stories a little bit more interesting if you add Trick having to run his belt back down. I am going to go with the upset. And by the way, if this is for Nerf Wall, this will be the week that you get me because the tag match in this match. But I'm going to go all Ego as NXT champ. When we come back, a tough discussion to have on the way out because I've seen this text show up on our text line. I've seen it show up on our brother station text line. I heard it yesterday on Wire to Wire. Is there any element of race that is playing into the Caitlin Clark discussion in the dub right now? Another white superstar from that league chimed in yesterday. We will address it through that angle when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Did he anesthetize himself? Got it for 6 hours by 4. How big did he tattoo his entire body?
He probably saw the great tattoos that were going on in Charlotte.
And he got jealous.
And yeah.
Hey, can you tattoo
Started with
me
LaMelo
on
Ball. Yeah. LaMelo, he's like, I got to have are there pictures of it?
Yeah, hang on. I'll send it to you.
No, I can look it up.
I've already got it pulled up. Here, I'll put it on the stream, actually. All right. I'm going to throw it up on the stream. We're all going to watch this together.
So he did the same thing that LaMelo Ball did. The thing that you complain about. So this is the popular thing now. No, I just saw his back.
All right. Let me move this. We'll watch it. We'll all watch it.
Yeah, that's his back. It's the same thing LaMelo did, except no color.
So,
to
a
it.
couple of things. This is the actual tattoo. This is the stencil.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So there's them putting the stencil on.
Oh, so that's how they do. Okay.
Yeah. So they put a stencil on. It puts the design on you, and then they come in and tattoo you.
How do you decide who gets to do what?
All right. So did my man have an LED wrapping around his tattoo gun? He did anesthetize himself. That's wild. Or he numbed himself. All right. There's the full piece. All right. Here's what we got. We got a negative space cursive Richardson that goes shoulder blade to shoulder blade. All right. I'm hot and cold on the concept of tattooing your own name across your back.
Come on. LaMelo, after you condemned LaMelo to no end.
Stop.
You
Because
did.
You're doing this thing again where you misrepresent what I said. I didn't say the tattoo was bad. I said the execution of the tattoo was garbage. It looks awful. Okay?
I think it looks better
It's
than
a
this.
bad
by
tattoo.
the way.
No, this is a better tattoo.
No, I think LaMelo's is better because
It's absolutely not.
because it had color.
In
That's
no
just
world.
black and white. What?
In
No, in your world,
No,
okay?
in no
You and
world.
I can have differing opinions. It doesn't mean that I'm completely wrong and you're completely
No,
right.
you are. In this case, you are. In no world is LaMelo's
Yeah,
tattoo better.
okay, whatever. Dude.
All right, so we've got the negative space cursive last name across the shoulders. We've got a very large art style lion on the left shoulder blade. 4 aces, a roulette table, die, and a wad of $100 bills on the right shoulder, and the NFL logo in the dead center. In the bottom right, we have an angel holding up a cross in front of a bright shining light. And in the bottom left, we have, I'm assuming, Leonidas and a Spartan warrior, complete with shield and spear. 4.5 out of 10. The Lion's dope. The name is well executed. The Spartan Warrior is dope. The roulette table, the 4 aces and the $100 bill. I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is going to be labeled, it represents me taking a gamble on myself and coming out better for it. I don't love that side of it. The NFL logo as a centerpiece is an interesting choice for a guy who's been in the year one league with no guarantee, 1 year with no guarantees. So there is a discussion ongoing around the WNBA, and I have seen this pop up a number of times. I was bouncing back and forth up until yesterday about whether I should or should not approach this topic, not because I think it's bad to have the conversation, but because I do not know that I have the perspective to really get into it past my opinion is, but I'm going to give it a shot. There is a very popular opinion going around right now that a part of the reason that Caitlin Clark is getting the hell beat out of her game after game is not because she is a rookie, and it is not because of the image built around Caitlin Clark her rookie year in the WNBA, but because she's white. And there have been some commenters on television in certain places that have given some weight to that theory. In fact, I heard one on, I think, the 4-letter the other day, make the argument that the league was built by African-American women. And here comes a white basketball player that has come in and has gotten more attention in a 10-game, 11-game span than any of the multitude of black players that have come through the league since its inception 26 seasons ago, 26 years ago. And you've got a bunch of people saying, oh, it's because Caitlin Clark is white. Here's what I said yesterday to Diesel and Cole. Here's what I've said in a couple of tweets over the days. To say that race has nothing to do with the treatment of Caitlin Clark is just as silly as saying that race is the only thing that is leading to the treatment of Caitlin Clark. To say that there is no racial motivation for the treatment of Caitlin Clark is to me the exact same as saying there is only racial motivation that is the treatment of Caitlin Clark. The truth, as is true with most things, is in the middle. Do I believe that there are some players in the league that have it out for Caitlin Clark because she is white and also the most popular player in a league that has long been dominated by African-American athletes? Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple. However, do I think that is the majority of what is happening? Not at all. Not at all. I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you what is happening. And I'm realizing this the more that I am listening to the debates, battles in some cases, between people that are new to the league and people who have been around the league for a long time. The people that have been around the league for the long time are saying, just like one incident, the Kennedy Carter incident with Caitlin Clark, should not be what you utilize to define the league as a whole. One player, Caitlin Clark, should not be the representation of the league as a whole. On the flip side, I think those same people would be obligated to acknowledge one primary truth, and it is that whether it is she because she is white or not, whether it is because she is whatever, Caitlin Clark has brought more eyes onto the product than anything else. And we know that to be true just based on attendance numbers. Games across the WNBA, attendance has skyrocketed this year, not just in Caitlin Clark games, but all games. However, games in which Caitlin Clark has played are averaging great one over 17,000 paid spectators per game. WNBA games without Caitlin Clark are averaging 10,000. You have almost 80% more fans in the building when Caitlin Clark is playing than you have when she is not. So you do not have to like that Caitlin Clark has more attendance, has more fans, but she does. Now, the question mark is, what does the WNBA do about it? There's a couple of things I would say. I do not police anyone else's behavior. However, what I would say to players in the league is act how you want to act. Do what you want to do. Treat her the way you want to treat her. However, I would be cognizant of the fact that the WNBA has an opportunity to skyrocket their popularity if Caitlin Clark leaves. If you beat the hell out of her and she goes, you know what, screw this, I'm going to go get that $5 million playing in the what is it, the Ice Cube League, the 3-on-3 league. And she leaves, 7,000 people average per game are leaving with her. The millions of people that have been tuning in on TV that you have never had before are leaving with her, or at least a large percentage of them. On the flip side, I do think it is important to the rest of the basketball fandom to recognize this is basketball. It is a physical game. She's a guard. She's a skinny guard. Do you know what other skinny guards get the hell beat out of them when they drive into the paint? Steph Curry. Steph can't go down there in the paint. He'll get knocked around, right? That's why they got Draymond Green out there. It ain't because Draymond's a great player. It's because if Steph gets rattled, they're going to send Draymond after whoever it was that rattled Steph, right? So to me, to say that Caitlin Clark is getting beat up because she's white is just as silly as saying that there is no racial implication at all. Neither is true. The truth is in the middle. But I also think the truth is in the middle for every other discussion. To the old guard fans, I would probably take a look at maybe making sure that Caitlin Clark isn't getting the hell beat out of her on non-basketball plays. Don't make it to where she's getting beat up when she's not playing ball to the sake that she goes, yeah, I'll go somewhere else where I'll make more money. But to the Caitlin Clark fans, recognize basketball is a physical sport. And when she drives the paint, she's going to get knocked around so that she doesn't go put up 20 and win the game. The truth is in the middle, ladies and gentlemen. The word is nuance. I recommend you learn how to implement it into your day-to-day.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
I don't know no nuance. What is it? Sounds French. First thing that's Xing today is Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. You know that's a real place, by the way?
Yes.
Nottingham Forest is
this is a sports story, by the way.
Well, then it obviously has to do with their soccer team, Nottingham Forest. And I am going to say that
you look like you're looking.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
There's a European Super League story that is happening right now, and I'm trying to decide if I believe Nottingham Forest is somehow connected to that story. I can't imagine they're not big enough to be invited to the Super League, so I'm going to assume that they have spoken out against it.
No, there are new rules in place that are forcing 6 teams, including Nottingham Forest, but I've never been able to say Nottingham Forest on the air, to sell players.
Okay.
Yes.
Effectively, the Premier League is beginning to enact a salary cap of sorts. They're called sustainability laws in soccer or in Premier League football. So my suspicion is likely Nottingham Forest is toward the top end of what they would consider a salary cap and are likely saying, hey, get under the cap. It's not unusual.
Yeah, so they got to sell players. Just
I know, and I should have thought about that because I know Chelsea got dinged for it too.
Yeah, and the way it was worded, I mean, Nottingham Forest and selling of players is just kind of weird. All right,
because unlike other Robin Hoods, I can speak with the British accent.
Except you didn't just
because I can't speak with the British accent.
Well, okay, so there's that. The next thing is Xing the Shams.
Shams got wash bombed today.
That's why.
Is that why he's trending?
I
figured.
That's why he's being X.
Waj dropped the bomb earlier that the head coach of the UConn Huskies is being scouted to become the head coach of the LA Lakers, and it comes like a day after my man Shams dropped out there that JJ Redick was the front runner. The next day, Waj came out and hit him with a bionic elbow right on the nose that, nope, it's Dono.
All right, the next thing that is Xing is Mavs in 6.
Mavs in 6. You know what? I can't be mad that's Xing. I'm going to call myself an influencer. I told you that yesterday. I have 2 tickets out Mavs in 6 and Mavs in 7. I have Mavs in 6 and 7 because I don't think this is over in 4 or 5. All right. There's no chance it's over in 4 or 5, no matter who wins. The pricing for the Mavs in 6 was like 5-1. The pricing for the Mavs in 7 was like 8-1. As long as one of those two hits, I'm in good shape. Who you got in game 1 tonight? I'm going Dallas plus 6.5, but Boston to win.
Yeah, I'm going Dallas to win.
I'm immediately changing my bet to Dallas to win because Lonzo has nailed every Dallas game so far.
Yeah.
If you get this one right, I'm calling you a witch tomorrow.
That would be a warlock. The last thing that's Xing is pooping.
Remember to take your security banana into the pooper with you, ladies and gentlemen, and just rest it on the floor like a totally normal, sane, not psychopath if you need to. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow to break down game 1, to break down game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is on Saturday. And who knows what the hell else we get into on a Friday on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah!
It was actually a Joe Biden thing, but I also want
I saw that.
I didn't want to get into the story.
I do want to point out
I just wanted
that,
to say Nottingham Forest and pooping in the same 5-minute span.
I respect that.
And I got to do that on the air.
I do love the fact that we're about to have a presidential election with 2 presidential candidates that are constantly accused of crapping their pants.
Depends.
Can we do better, America? I am begging you to do better than what you are giving me in November.
Maybe eventually.
Please do better. It's not, because both sides are afraid that stepping out of line will lead to a defeat. So they'd rather just run the same 2 octogenarians at each other over and over. Also, you know what I did not mention today is D-Day, which is, of course, today. And I have an annual celebration of, not celebration's a bad word. I guess it is technically celebration. You can celebrate somber things, where I watch Saving Private Ryan. And I will be doing
it's
that
commemorating today. More than
well, you have like a celebration of life when somebody dies. Like, I think you can celebrate things. Like, you can celebrate the people who gave their lives on D-Day, which ultimately led to a defeat of Nazi Germany in the Third Reich in World War II. But the first, 30 minutes of Saving Private Ryan has got to be one of the most difficult 10 minutes of a movie to get through. Like,
I've never seen it, but I know all about it.
You should watch it. It will.
Again, if you look at the movies that I didn't see, they all fall in a certain period where I really didn't have any money to go to movies and didn't have money for cable, didn't have money for. So there's a bunch of movies in that window that I missed, but I know all about them. It's not like I didn't have any interest in them. I just wanted to eat.
Of all the movies that I have said to you, you should watch this movie. Saving Private Ryan
especially the ending.
Knowing about this, the impact this movie will have on you for watching it is so much more than I know the story, right? Like, watch this movie and it will completely change your perspective on D-Day, on World War II. Like, it is from what there are historians who have said Saving Private Ryan, the first 30 minutes is the most accurate representation of what the storming of Normandy was like in real life. It's hard to watch, but I genuinely feel like it is massively important for people to watch, even if you just watch the first half hour, to watch this movie.
All right, listen.
That's pretty good. So now millions of people are going to hear I'm going to say B+ James
By the way,
Brown impression.
I only had to move just like not even a half a second.
I was pretty close.
You were.
Spot on.
Once I got the first phrase on, everything else fell in line, so I didn't have to move anything. You were that good on that.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm pretty proud about that one. So,
listen, I'm proud of us.
I was happy
right.
for you that
I'm
you were
proud of
so
us.
on that
I
song.
pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
Pretty much nailed it. All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all spectacular people. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Tune in tomorrow for
Rashad Beard.
stuff and things. Rashad Beard at 9. As I get notifications about potential interviews from BMW Pro-Am players today, I will post those across social media and let you know who, what, where, when, and why as they happen. So make sure you follow me on social media at The Rob Brown Show, Lonzo at Lonzo on Word on the Twitter. And if and when we get those interviews, I will let you know. I hope you all have a spectacular Thursday. Enjoy game 1. Dallas plus 6.5 tonight is the play. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Oh, no. Can you do a wild